synthwave stuff.
It is always
Yeah,
the synthwave stuff because I
good.
like the synthwave. I like that aesthetic. The whole old like 80s, 90s, arcade-esque neon everything. I love it. I don't know if the stream is still going because
You're going, baby.
Is it? Oh man, so
I'm watching it.
Titles.
We're live.
We're live. Oh my god. Yeah. Welcome to Geeks with Kids, a bi-weekly, not bi-weekly. We're that podcast that does stuff sometimes, and we're here. We're gonna talk about Alien Romulus, which released last week on I don't remember what day it is. My brain is off.
The 12th.
It was on the 12th. Yeah.
It was on the 12th.
Today's the 19th.
No. So it was like 5 days ago, or 4 days ago. Oh my god. Brain
Don't
at
ask me
work.
to do math.
Technically,
the
it
15th.
says it released on the 16th in Canada. So
Yeah, 15,
Yeah, it was on
16.
Thursday.
Yeah. So
right,
we're
it's Monday.
it is Monday, not Friday. Because I'd be at Fan Expo if I was it was that day. Anyways, we're here. We're gonna talk about it. We're joined by Dave, Harcroft, and Steve.
Hey.
Steve has been on this show before, but Harcroft has not. Wait, Harcroft, you've never been on the show, right?
No.
Oh.
I have not.
Oh, really?
Well, why don't you let us know a bit about yourself? Let us know. Give us some info.
He asked as I take a bite because he knew I was eating.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I had to do it.
I'm Harcroft. Been following your guys' stuff for a while because I have friends who follow you.
Mm.
I'm
You have friends?
basically in the original Xbox community. I do have friends. It's crazy, right?
I wish I had friends.
Who would believe it?
No,
I don't.
Mostly in the original Xbox community, but I do, dabble in some D&D with some people on this show.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. That's about all I'm willing to share.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Pretty good.
Fair. Cool.
Nice.
Awesome. And
Welcome, Harcroft.
yay! And then obviously, welcome back to Steve. Welcome back to Steve. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. It's like
Yeah.
welcome back, Cotter.
And like we do most shows, we're going to talk about what we're liking lately. What's good.
Oh, I
What's-
forgot about this.
What
part
is
of
your
the show.
yum? Yeah, what is your yum?
God damn it!
Let's go with Dave first because I'm going to give
Cool.
Steve and Harcroft some time to think about this.
So you would think that it would be the DRG expansion that just came out, that was just shipped out from Kickstarter, from the Kickstarter. But no, I received another Kickstarter lately.
Oh. Which is
Oh,
all I see is
Never
stress.
works. It's
no,
called the
Monstrous?
Monstrous. So this is sort of a system agnostic monster book where you can kind of fill in the blanks by Cloud Curio Games, Cloud Latino creative lead. He's a cartographer. Cool guy. He streams as well, so you can check him out if you like watching people draw maps for D&D or Pathfinder and the upcoming MCD MRPG now titled Draw Steel. I like shouting out all my favorite stuff. So it's really cool. It's a neat little book. It's got really dope artwork. It came with some like extra art sheets and stuff like that. The idea is that like if you were designing monsters, right, regardless of what kind of system you were running, think about what kind of abilities they should have, right? And you can kind of fill in the blanks instead of worrying about like, oh, this does a D6 or this does, no, it's not about that. It's about like what kind of abilities, what kind of like, does a lich have a pet? Like, does every lich? What are like archetypes of different things? So it goes into like mobs. So it's got kobolds and goblins and how they're different and stuff like that, right? This is a nice little book, beautiful artwork again, really nice. Like, I love having hardcovers, and I like more and more stuff like this as well because it's not specific. I mean, I like to jump around my RPGs. So it's nice to think like getting inspiration for this is those things.
Mhm.
Like instead of worrying about like, oh, I'll just run more orcs. It's like, well, maybe I don't like orcs anymore. Maybe I want to run something else. How would I change them? Stuff like this is DMs need inspiration. You got to take the stuff you like and put it in your game. And this is very cool. Look at
Yeah.
that
That's
artwork.
awesome. Yeah, I used to love material like that back in the day. That sounds like an amazing.
How's the artwork inside? It like the art on the outside looks amazing.
See if I can show you a gargoyle. There you go.
Yeah, that looks great.
Nice.
It's under the section of imposters. So you think of things that like replace other things, right? Here's a picture of a dragon.
Mm.
Cool. Well, that's an interesting track.
That feels very 80s, and I like that.
It is
Yeah.
very AD&D. Bugs.
Ooh,
That's cool.
that's fun.
I like that as worshipping a butterfly.
I like this one a lot. This is for the Brutes page. So it's like a knight, and he's got like
That is-
hands for a head and
That's
stuff.
terrifying.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
I wonder if I did this, if it would be easier.
Nope.
Not terribly.
No, it's
About
not
the
better.
same.
It's Discord. It's
The
Discord's
fog of-
overlay.
The
hiding
fog of
them.
war is very real where you're at.
Yeah. I do not like to be perceived. Anyway, yeah, I'm really. Oh yeah, freaking Celestials. Yeah, it's not gonna like.
No,
I don't know. You'll have to
Looks like
go
only-
look it up.
yeah, looks like only evil stuff will transmit
not-
from where you are.
It's not free, and it came with stickers and postcards. Actually, I love this artwork. Is this gonna show up? Look at that. I love that.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite.
That
right
looks
there. It's like a
good.
demi-lich. Oh man,
Oh, cool.
I love that stuff. Yeah, monstrous. Very cool.
I had not heard of that. That's really neat. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm done.
Yay! Steve Harcroft, do you need time still?
Yeah,
Oh, I know what I'm doing.
All right,
Oh,
Harcroft,
okay.
go.
nuts.
All right, I mentioned I'm in this old original Xbox community,
Mhm.
and occasionally we do bulk orders of random like collectibles from Japan because Microsoft really tried hard to push the Xbox in Japan. It didn't do very well, but they released a ton of collectibles to make it more like popular.
Hmm.
And one of the things they released only in Japan was this video camera, the Xbox video chat software. I actually got a boxed one, like a retail boxed copy today. It's on my Twitter if you looked at the I sent you a
Ooh.
photo earlier of it. That's my yum, is having this like beautiful piece of history, literally 20 years old, an old webcam, like before even Skype was a thing. It was
Yeah.
video chat on Xbox Live.
That's
that is
cool.
actually really neat.
That's pretty cool.
Like
Yeah.
we've already got replacements working, so you can play with it today on like the Insignia Xbox Live replacement. But I got this like really cool. It's cool, like collectible, but in reality, the visual quality is abysmal.
Sure.
So it's just a fun collectible from Japan today, as well as I also got a PSX, and I don't mean a PlayStation 1. I mean, in Japan there was this PSX console that was like a DVR PlayStation 2.
Oh.
That's
that came in
cool.
today too. Maybe we'll show that off later.
Ooh, yeah,
or
totally.
on the podcast.
I would love
Yeah,
to see that.
That's obscure like collectible shit. I
wonder-
love. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
I wonder if you could stream from it because I would love to just see what the quality is
That'd
like.
be fun.
Probably it has like 3 or 4 video outs, but they're all like composite. It also has
Yeah.
I can force component through D-terminal on it.
Hmm.
The reason that myself and a bunch of friends are buying these PSXs is the hard drives are very much locked to the system.
Hmm.
So I've had friends in the Xbox community working on finding ways to we call them orphan hard drives. They're just hard drives that have no console anymore, but they might have content on them that we want to recover.
Mm,
They're
right.
locked to the console, like they're one with the console.
Like the
way
specific
to get
console
it-
type.
Well, it's locked to the exact console. It came
Oh,
from.
the exact one. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So we've had friends. One's name was Sky HDD. She figured out how to unlock them, all of them,
Hmm.
fairly easily, and kind of shared that knowledge. So now we're like scanning orphan hard drives for lost content. Because she's this hard drive recovery expert, people have been pushing her to work on the PlayStation X, the PSX problem. So we can now take these drives that are locked from PSX and create new ones for them too.
That's so cool.
Oh man,
That's so
This-
cool.
So it's
Just
hardware preservation.
This is a
hardware
cool
archaeology.
Yeah. Yeah, techno archaeology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 yums for the price of one.
I love it. I love it. And I like the use yum.
I don't so much, but I love the term techno archaeology, so that'll be a pass for me.
Nice. All right, Steve. What about you? What about you?
I don't have anything. I'm always miserable. Okay, so Ark knows that for over a year now, I've been interested in BattleTech. That's my new thing. I mean, if it's good enough for Freddie Prinze Jr., it's good enough for me. Actually, there's I forgot to tell you, Ark, Macaulay Culkin and
Saw
Freddie
that.
Prinze Jr. Yeah, that was really funny.
They
both play BattleTech.
Oh.
Yeah. Or at least they both trash talk people over BattleTech, the video game. Anyway, I'm expecting some stuff in the mail. It's not quite as rare or as unique as what Harcroft was talking about, but I am also a fan of really old, discontinued pieces, and I've been a little lucky in that. So I don't know. That's something I'll talk about in the future. But yeah, there's not too much I can talk about other than the fact that there is a miniatures war game called BattleTech. It's doing very well now. It was actually dead about 10 years ago, in my opinion. And it's 40 years old this year. And unlike Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, they're actually celebrating their anniversary properly. which is something I like to snicker about. If you know, you know. Okay,
That's so
but
funny.
basically, yeah, it's a very small company, but yeah, they did really well in Kickstarter, and yeah, so that's kind of like my main. It's been the thing for about a year now, but it's a thing I've been focusing on ever since Warhammer. I became a refugee from the Warhammer. I mean, it's not to say I don't like Warhammer 40k, but supporting them a little less now. So anyway, looking forward to bringing some. Possibly, I don't know if they're poisonous, but metal miniatures into my collection. You know, I have no idea. They might be old enough that they may be lead, which will be fun for me. I have no idea, but that's how far back it's going. So
that's amazing. I wonder if you could seal that with something to make it less.
That's
killer.
a good idea. Actually, yeah, I suppose if you varnish them like really hard, that might actually
and then paint them over. Yeah.
So that's the whole point. Is eventually I hope to actually get some painting in, and this time maybe stick with it longer than a couple months.
Get your whole painting setups so we can watch you paint.
The setup is pretty good, and yeah, I've got some leftover webcams. You know, obviously I'm not using them for this right now, so I might as well set them up for maybe a painting booth.
What do you mean this image of you on the stream is not you? Like you're not the alien from Spaceballs?
I did not know what you had chosen. I'm okay with that. That's okay.
I thought you would.
No.
Brent said WWFPJD. What would Freddie Prinze Jr. do?
Oh, nice. He's fun.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't know that he was trash talking people on that game.
Oh, it's some dumb random like. To be honest, the article is not very good, but yeah, there's I can't remember who published it, but yeah, Macaulay Culkin and him were apparently playing some video game, and they were like talking smack about other BattleTech players. On I don't. That's basically it. All I know is Freddie Prinze Jr. is an actual fan of the game, and he does actually post his miniatures that he likes to paint from time to time.
I love that. That's why he did Wing Commander, because he was a fan of it too. So. You know, I can't fault him.
That actually might come up tonight. I have some weird indirect connections to that. Anyway, but yes, boy, I remember Wing Commander. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but like that came out, and everyone knew that the prequel, that the episode 1 trailer was attached to it.
Yep.
And I went to see Wing Commander because I actually like Wing Commander.
Same.
But there was a dude, literally. I went to see Wing Commander. The guy walked into the theater. He stayed for the episode 1 trailer, and then he left. He didn't even watch the fucking.
You know what's funny is that it was also attached to Meet Joe Black. So my friend worked at the movie theater, and I'd seen Wing Commander, and then it was coming out, and I just was like, I'm gonna go walk into Meet Joe Black so I could watch the trailer again.
That is a good trailer. I mean, whatever my misgivings may be, that is a fantastic trailer even to this day.
For sure.
Isn't that what happened with Dreamcatcher? Everyone went in to go see Final Flight of the Osiris and just walked out, so the theater stopped offering refunds.
I did
not know. That's hilarious.
Awesome.
That is hilarious. Man,
okay, that's.
I think they were doing the same thing for Star Wars too. People were just going to see the trailer.
No, I did recall that I saw a printout on the screen of the theater that said, "Yeah, we're not giving refunds for Wing Commander."
I'm gonna guess Harcroft meant Flight of the Phoenix because Final Flight of the Osiris is an Animatrix film.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
Oh.
So that aired at the beginning of the Dreamcatcher movie. People went in to go see that and left before.
Oh,
that's
before
kind of worth it, though. To be perfectly honest, I mean, you get to see a whole short film.
People were asking for refunds, though.
Did I get disconnected? I think I got disconnected from everyone. All right, be right back, people. Yeah, sorry. Discord just decided to crash, and I was like, okay, fair.
As you do.
As-
You do.
as
Discord
Discord.
being Discord.
Discord being Discord, you know.
Which is still better than OBS being OBS. So
I mean, I'm hoping that doesn't crash today, but you never know.
I jinxed it. Yes.
Please don't.
Jerk.
What was I talking about?
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Oh
Don't
yeah,
you go crashing
sure when you cut
OBS.
out.
Don't you go
$2
crashing.
movies.
$2
Yeah,
movies.
we got to $2 movies.
Oh, Lime Ridge. Oh, I missed that.
Lime Ridge. What's the
There was
Stony
one in
Creek?
there was one in St. Catharines by some shitty mall. I don't even remember what it was. Lincoln Mall, I think it was. And
I don't
There
go
used to
that
be
way.
one near Fiesta Mall, I think, David.
Yeah, Fiesta Mall. It was in Fiesta Mall.
the $2 theater left after my first year of university. That was sad.
Was it not? Oh my god, why can't I think of it now? I used to live there. Oh my god. Because there's no mall at Fairview. Penn Center. Is it not Penn Center that would have had?
No. There was one
Was it?
that was always there. That was the Cineplex before it turned into whatever
Oh.
Starlight it is now.
Landmark.
Landmark, whatever. The
Yeah.
Fairview also had a Cineplex, and then that's where I saw the Star Wars trailers. And then
I wonder where it would have been. Maybe we're like the.
there was one like by what's that strip club in St. Catharines?
Well, that closed
You know,
long
I-
before I moved there.
There's like a little plaza mall down that way, and there was a $2 theater over there. That's where I saw Congo for $2.
Great Bruce Campbell flick.
Yep,
Nice.
yeah, that's why I went, and then he died in the first like 10 minutes, which is amazing.
When are we going to do our Congo retrospective?
We should. We should do a Michael
Oh.
Crichton movies.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Michael
that
Crichton.
I'd be
Yeah.
on board for. Not so much a Congo
Yeah.
specific.
I was just looking at something that was Michael Crichton too. Why can't I think of
I've
it?
read that
I-
book at least twice, so I can give a comparison on that.
I loved- I
It's
did-
quite different.
sweet.
I did my book report in grade 8 to Congo, and I did a whole like, I did this whole like scene, like we had to present it to the class. So I did this whole like thing where I was around the campfire, and I was like, "Oh, it's so cold," and and I was, yeah, it was very lame.
I
Wow.
watched
And the auto guns are
Twisters
running
last
dry.
night, and the original Twister is a Michael Crichton
Crichton,
story.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing
I mean-
the credits and being like, Michael Crichton. That's weird.
Man. Okay. I love the fact that there are so many really, to me, hilariously bad Michael Crichton movies. Then I'm on board for that because
Yeah.
I can't think of them off the top of my head. I think there's one with
Timeline
James
Timeline
in
was
it.
terrible.
disclosure. Man, remember how good the 13th Warrior almost was
That book was so good.
because they destroyed the movie.
Yeah, Eaters of
Rise
the
and
Then
Dead.
you have ER, which is like the opposite, like considered one of the best,
TV
medical
shows.
dramas ever.
He did Westworld.
Well,
Yeah, I
Michael
love the
Crichton
original
stuff is
Westworld.
like, yeah, it vacillates between awesome and really good.
There's no in the middle. There's just amazing or terrible.
Yeah.
For
Oddly
sure.
enough, with Twister, I bought the book, like the novel to read.
There's
And they
no.
shipped me the screenplay instead of the actual novel.
You got the movie adaptation. Oh no.
Yeah, I still have it. I
Oh,
think.
That's
no.
amazing. Also, they're doing a screening of Twister at Fan Expo with Helen Hunt this weekend.
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not going to go
That's
to it,
pretty
but
cool.
whatever. My yum is this thing. Can you see it? This thing right here.
Yeah.
Looks like
This
a
is a-
block.
This is a
PS.
PlayStation dongle.
It allows you to attach your PlayStation VR to your computer.
Yep, it allows me to attach my
Oh.
PlayStation VR 2 to my computer, and apparently there was only 2 at my GameStop, and like dozens of people were looking for it the day of release, and I was like, thank
Nice.
God I pre-ordered it. And there's like a big like thing online where people are like, "Where's this? We want it. You don't have enough. Give it to us."
Yeah,
So-
I've heard that
yeah.
the PSVR 2 is one of the best possible headsets, and that
It
it's too limited on the PlayStation because there's not enough stuff coming out.
Yeah. 100%. And I have like 6 games for it on PS5. But now I have my Steam library, so I ended up buying Half-Life Alyx, which is amazing. But also like I had to take down my soundproofing blankets around me because I needed the space because I moved around too much.
They're re-releasing. I think they're remastering, even though it just came out a little while ago. Arizona Sunshine, which is the zombie VR game. So that'll be cool.
I don't know that.
You ever heard of that? That's a really popular one. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm so close to buying Alien Isolation again because I have it on the Epic Game Store, but I don't have it on Steam. But like, I don't know if I
yeah.
can handle that in in 3D.
Well, this is the week. This is the week to like consider it though, right?
It
'Cause
is.
I'm sure it's on
They have
sale,
the Alien
right?
sale right now on Steam.
Yeah,
It-
go get Alien Fireteam Elite because it's. I know you guys
already
have
have
it,
it.
but it's real good.
Yeah, don't get Colonial Marines.
Which is on sale.
Yeah, fuck that game. Don't do it.
Just get the base game for Fireteam Elite because the DLC everybody has to own it, but it's actually it's not even on sale right now. What the hell? That's unfortunate.
Oh, that's
Well, get it anyway. It's $40. It's really good.
Is it done by
Lots of
Sega?
replayability.
Don't
It's
get it
published
for
by
40
Sega.
bucks.
Weird.
That's-
No, I think that game. Well, I got it for free on PlayStation. I genuinely, after putting like 100 hours in that game, I would pay $40 for that game.
I think it is a solid game. But I can't good conscience.
It's got a
$40.
good story. It's very replayable. It's
I
got
like
a
that.
lot of unlockable. There's like 12 classes to try, each with different loadouts and combinations.
I do think it is a good game. It is better
3-player
than
co-op.
most.
I get that
but-
instead of Concord or something. Sorry, Sony.
Okay, well, Concord wasn't even in my wheel. Like I wasn't thinking that. It goes on sale real cheap. So
Listen, if you're not playing Helldivers, get this
Fair.
game. Or if you
Helldivers
really,
good.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
better to just be playing Helldivers.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Despite there is some issues with the Bluetooth with the PlayStation VR 2.
Yeah.
You need like a 5.3 or a 5.0 Bluetooth
Okay.
connection. It has to be really strong. So I ended up buying a dongle and a USB cord, like an extension. So it's like pointed out of my monitor. So it's just pointed straight at my play area.
So how long have you had this? And how many things have you played with it?
I've had it for about a week and a bit. I've played Half-Life Alyx. That's what I'm currently playing. And I've been playing Doom VFR.
Oh,
Retro-
I'm so jelly.
VFR, yeah. Subnautica, which is
Oh,
quite fun in VR. What's Agent 47?
Hitman.
Hitman has VR in it as well.
Wow, Hitman in VR, boy,
Yeah.
that would be amusing.
Anyway, it's fun. It's a great use of the virtual reality headset that I thought I'd be using more on the PlayStation. So,
Well,
Yeah.
As long as you're using it, that's the most important thing. So that's
Yeah.
great. I'm glad it works with
Yeah.
your PC. That's fantastic.
like I got my Oculus Rift 2 like couple years ago, but I ended up only like playing a couple games on it. Like, what's that one? The Beat Saber.
Mm.
Oh,
that
sure,
was
of
the
course, yeah.
main thing. And I have that on PlayStation as well. So I don't think I need to buy it on Steam, but maybe. Who knows? Then I can mod it. I don't know. I just like using. I love like the remotes for the VR2 are really quite good. They have the haptic response in it too.
Sony
Like,
controllers
Oh,
just getting
okay.
better
So-
and better with every generation.
That's
it's just
cool. Okay, I didn't know
fantastic.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
So
All right.
hopefully they'll also put those PlayStation games on Steam, so I can.
Yeah, there
start
is
doing
that slow migration. Actually, let me know when those when your toy becomes a little more available. I'm not going to fight anybody for it now, but that does actually sound like I might be interested because I've always not really been super keen on VR, to be honest, because I did play someone else's and I found it like hot, and I wear glasses, right? So it fogs up, right? But I mean, I guess this new one is quite nice, right?
Yeah, I wear
guess
these
that-
glasses,
yeah.
and these are fucking giant.
Yeah. So it's kind of the next gen. That's kind of like what I've been waiting for. Because the first gen was, it's fun, but yeah, I find it too uncomfortable. So that's cool. That's cool.
The first game I played on PlayStation VR 2 was the Horizon New Horizon, or what's it called?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
The Horizon Zero
Horizon
Dawn
East?
VR game, and it's phenomenal. Like, except like you're doing motions for climbing, so you're just like, fuck, I'm tired of just doing this
Yeah, I know. What the hell, man? I mean, those
And you
guys
have to
are
pull
exercise.
back. the whole time.
It's
Like,
called Horizon, Call of the
I'm
Mountain.
Mountain. Yes.
Yes.
Great game.
Your guys with the glasses, there are companies who make lenses that fit into those VR glasses for the lesser prescriptions. I would definitely check those out.
Yeah, I don't think this one will go. Dave's definitely won't be there.
No, nobody does above like 12.
I think I'm -5, so I should be fine.
21 and 21 and a half, baby.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Negative.
Negative. Yeah.
Because my astigmatism in my right eye got a little bit better.
My astigmatism's also in my right eye. Woo.
Well, no, I have astigmatism in both eyes. It's just
Oh.
the one in my right eye, last time I got my eyes checked, was slightly better. There's still halos around every light in the world for me. It's just that those halos have gotten a tiny bit smaller.
Ah, very nice, very nice. This is Old Men Geeks, the podcast.
I've been trying to think of other things to instead of Geeks with Kids. Like what else fits GWK? And it's like
geriatrics with
like grumpy. You know, like I don't know
with kinks.
I like that one.
No,
no, not that one.
We're not putting the word kink in the podcast title anyway. I think that's gonna.
Speaking
that's
of
an
kink,
audience we're not serving.
Well,
that alien bucket looks really quite funny.
That would have been another yum if we could have got that alien bucket that doubles as the shield from Alien vs Predator.
I never understood that. So here's my gripe with that. She's putting her hand in an alien head that has acid blood in it.
Well, no, because all the acid he cleaned it out. Remember, the Predator
he
cleaned it all out. Yeah,
he also put the tail on a spear for her.
I don't remember, to be honest. He took out his watering gun and was like,
Well, I think because they like freeze stuff, right? The Predators, so he probably just froze all the acid, basically.
Fair.
Like scraped it with something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get into that. Let's forget Romulus.
I could feel
probably
Steve
one of the best
dying.
movies of the year. Let's talk about.
Everything before. But
if I do get that bucket, my wife will cosplay as that character from Alien vs Predator.
Oh yeah.
She played. That's the one who played Blade's mom, right?
I think so.
Was she?
She's in a lot of stuff. She never gets to like. I guess it's her only lead role.
Don't think she was Blade's mom, but she was in a lot of things.
She was in a lot of things. I do remember that.
Yes.
I'm one of you guys are going to look up on
Sana Lathan.
I'll look it up.
As we're all like, I wonder.
She plays Catwoman in the Harley Quinn.
Yes, she does play Catwoman in the Harley Quinn. That's the one I remembered. Anyway,
she was. Fuck you. She was Blade's mom.
Fair.
Well, I'll be
I knew it. Her name's Vanessa.
Well done.
Well, everyone in the Blade trilogies are doing well right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Better than other sets. Yes.
Anyway, let's get into this. But before we talk about Alien Romulus, I want to know about your history with the Alien franchise. Like, what was your first one? Do you remember? Do you like the Alien movies in general? I mean, there's more bad than good, but anyway, let's start with whoever wants to go first. Steve, Harcraft, Dave.
All right, I'll just jump in real quick. Yeah, I do remember. I remember that it was playing at a friend's birthday party. Again, this was when we were all way too young for this sort of thing.
I think that's how we all saw these movies.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, RoboCop. Well, I'll buy that for $1. Boy, childhood memories.
Got him.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I remember seeing. I think it was Alien. Yeah, it was the first one. And it's funny because growing up, I guess my most visceral memories were for the second one. And I just kept going like, have I actually seen Alien? And I would occasionally come into it, and then I would be like, oh yeah, I have watched this movie, but it's just for some reason I could not remember it for the longest time. And and I watched a lot of the movies in theaters, because they were in the 90s, and that was around that right time. And they were all very disappointing or mediocre. I didn't really understand what was wrong with them. I do now, and I have a person that I will blame later in this discussion. And and I watched all those trash fires because they were all terrible. I mean, frankly, let's just be honest. I mean, they were all very mid, as they say now. So I followed it, but truth be told, I went to see this Romulus movie with you guys because you guys were going, because I had actually no interest in going to see it after Coventry and Prometheus. Prometheus, I remember walking out of that and going, something's not quite right with something I just watched. And it took me a few hours. And anyway, I'm much better at tracking, at focusing on these things now. In Coventry, I was like, as I was watching, I was like snapping my fingers like, this person is stupid. This person's
stupid.
They were all stupid. So yeah, so that's basically it. I really like the idea of this expanded universe, though. There'll be discussions of Blade Runner and Predator and whatever else. That's just something I like to kind of like muse about. But other than that, I'm I like Alien. I like Aliens, and everything else has been pretty bad. So that's and I have a really horrible experience with the video game franchise, but that's something we don't really need to get into. So
I mean, the arcade game was amazing.
That's true. Yep.
All right.
Alien vs Predator games were pretty good.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, AVP. Yeah, I like them all. I did like those. Yes.
Still have my retail discs for that. AVP
Nice.
Gold.
Nice.
Harcraft, Dave?
Mine's gonna be pretty short.
Yeah.
it was probably the mid '90s before I saw Alien, and like, I mean, the haircuts and stuff obviously felt old at that point, but the effects and the feel of the movie, it kind of held up. Like it felt pretty cool, even seeing it that much later.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, for me, it was just another like cool sci-fi thing. I didn't get back into the whole alien thing until Alien versus Predator, essentially. And a mutual friend of Dave's and mine gave me his old Alien quadrology on VHS. So at some point, I watched the rest of them on there, and like, I mean, they were okay. There's some moments here and there, like game over, man, and random stuff here and there that was fun, but they didn't compare up as sequels usually don't. They didn't compare up to the original to me.
Yeah.
That being said, I've definitely enjoyed the Predator movies more than the Alien movies. But I agree with like Prometheus. I remember seeing it, but it was so terrible. I don't really remember much of it,
So
despite it having
jarring.
some amazing actors in it.
Yeah.
Just like really convince you they're those characters. And then actually during Romulus, I actually accidentally referenced Prometheus instead of Covenant to Eric.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh crap! Like, what was this other movie that was equally terrible? Again, great moments in Alien Covenant, but it just didn't. It wasn't. It couldn't hold up to the feel of the original Alien kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's about my history, basically. I did enjoy the newer Predator stuff more than Arc Revenant did, I think, but it's for the individual moments, not for the whole movies.
I love Predators. I own it on Blu-ray.
The one we were talking about with
The Predator.
The Predator.
Predator.
Yeah,
second
it's
one.
That
it's
movie's
definitely
terrible.
Shane Black's worst film.
It had a few good moments, and actually, Alien versus Predator 2. I was telling you guys the other day, I had watched it like when it came out. And I'm like, oh, okay, this was pretty bad, but it was so bad that I had purged it from my brain. So when I went to go watch it recently, thinking I hadn't seen it before, I started remembering bits of it, going, "Oh my god, I've seen this before. It's fucking terrible."
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
That's my history with aliens and predators.
So I probably watched Alien on VHS along with all our dad's movies. So I probably would have watched it at the same time as The Thing, Blade Runner, and been like, this movie has androids, and so does Blade Runner. I wonder if they're connected. But we never had Soldier, which, those three movies are supposed to be sort of a shared universe.
What? Are they?
Yes.
I did not know
replicants.
this.
That's why,
Soldier, not Universal Soldier.
Yeah, Soldier.
No,
yeah,
I know
with Kurt
Soldier.
Russell.
Oh.
Yeah. So the things that happen in Soldier are they retroactively sort of made them reference what happened in what he says in Blade Runner, like the C beams and stuff like that. Tannhäuser Gate. It's not, but the guy who wrote Soldier apparently, because he helped write both scripts, I guess. When he wrote that, he forgot that he had done that. That they're
That's
like
amazing.
connected. So the guy who wrote the script is like, oh, I didn't mean for them to be connected, but whatever, who cares? There's no reason for them to not be. And obviously there's direct connections between Blade Runner and Alien, because those were both Ridley Scott and whatever, replicants, stuff like that. But yeah, I really liked the original Alien, and then I don't remember when I finally started watching the other ones. And I feel like I just watched Aliens for the first time a couple of years ago.
What? Really?
Yeah, I don't remember ever watching it before. Because I think last summer, I did a rewatch of the 4. I was going to do everything. I think I did all the Predators. I did all the Aliens. I did AVP. I had not seen AVP Requiem. I skipped through it for them. Well, I just skipped. If I just put them on with something else, while I'm playing something. But I think Alien is like, I like it, but it's not like one of my favorite. Like, I love The Thing, man. The Thing is like
such a good movie.
Perfect film.
Sure.
So I'd never put Alien up there, and I always preferred Predator to Alien, because Predator is such a good movie. But I don't know. Yeah, I've always liked the Alien universe. It's just that I think the amount of bad media that's come out of it, because they've been trying to milk it for so long, I've just kind of thrown it in the trash.
Fair. Very fair.
Because it's everything's been so throwaway since like the first 2 movies, right?
Yep. I agree.
So they just, other than, actually, to be fair, also my oldest brother and I used to play the Alien versus Predator card game.
That's,
and I always played as Predators, and he often played as Colonial Marines. And it turns out Colonial Marines can fuck up a Predator. It would be cool to see on screen one day.
Yeah, I got a comment about that later too, boy.
Anyway. But yeah, I've known this franchise probably since I was like 8 or 9.
Nice.
But obviously, I
That's
didn't
pretty
see any.
late.
I don't think I saw any of them in theaters until this one.
Oh shit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
all of them in theaters. God damn it.
I didn't see
Yeah,
all
but
of them.
you-
I'm too young for that.
You weren't watching Alien in
No.
the theater.
So no.
Okay.
Like I said, yeah, at a friend's birthday party, I saw like Aliens and Alien, right? Though that just
Yeah,
came
okay.
over in VHS, and I didn't actually see 3 in theaters, but I rented.
I was gonna
it
say
right away. But
92.
4,
I
but going from number 4 and forward, I watched all of those in theaters, which
Okay.
I
I
greatly
did the same
tried
thing.
to see. I always try Cineplex when they did their like movie mini movie things festivals.
Yeah.
I think I saw The Thing. I saw The Last Starfighter. I saw Goldfinger.
Oh,
but I always wanted to see Alien. Harcraft and I actually also saw Serenity. I think in one of those.
Nice.
But
James.
I was never got to see Alien on the big screen, which I think would be great.
I'll have to
actually.
pay more attention to that because I caught like
They haven't done that in like 10 years.
No, they
I
still
caught
do those.
Terminator. Yeah, no, they're
I
still
have not.
doing it.
Oh,
I saw
really?
Terminator 2 weeks ago because it's the 40th anniversary of that, and they had like some
Oh
Indiana
my
Jones
god! I
movies.
want to. God damn
Yeah,
it.
so
I think they're
I'll
doing
have
Neverending Story this week too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, well, I'll have to pay attention for Alien stuff, and I'll let you guys know.
And I saw Aliens, like the second one, in theaters not too long ago, like a couple years
That'd
ago.
be sick.
Yeah,
That'd be
Sure.
sick.
cool.
Yeah, it would have been another anniversary year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time there's like a movie I want to watch at one of those like replays, I'm like brutally sick. Like Serenity came back, I'm like, I have to go. And like the next show was Jurassic Park. I'm like, oh my god, I just have to go to this.
Yeah.
Like, no, sick.
Also today, I think today they had Last Crusade. So
Yes. That's right.
Actually,
35th
my buddy
anniversary.
he went to the Playhouse in Hamilton, which is a great theater. If you're in Hamilton, check it out. He did all three Indiana Jones films. Because they had a festival there.
but there's 4 of them.
I don't know what
No.
you're talking about.
No,
There's
only
3 Indiana Jones films. Are you including young Indiana Jones?
Isn't there 5 now?
I don't know what you're
I
talking
like the
about.
last one.
I haven't seen the last one. I can't say, but before the last one, there was only 3. So
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, for me, the Alien franchise, I saw definitely too young. I saw it in the 80s. I saw Aliens 2 at my uncle's house, who had a giant, those big ass projector screens that were
Nice.
huge, and he had it on Laserdisc. And for
Nice.
some reason, they decided to show like 6 or 7-year-old me this movie.
Bill's
and I was
character.
And it was cool because it had the turret scene, which I
got
I
the
tried
special
to find
edition.
forever, and
Yep.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw this, and people would be
Yeah, I
like, there are
know.
no turrets in this movie. I'm like, yes, there are, damn it. And then
It's such a pivotal scene too. Like that is one of those like
Yeah.
director's cut type discussions where it's like, no, I do think the extended cut is better.
you get to meet the
Colony.
Yeah. So, and like Newt's family, which is way more heartbreaking when she's like, they're dead.
I can understand why they cut it, and the movie works without. Like, it's one of those cases where like these days, I think some of the cuts for like versions of things that they release now are just miserable. Like the movie doesn't make sense, right? That movie does actually function, but the things that they put back into the so-called special edition or director's cut, whatever you want to call it, I think don't affect the runtime in a negative way. And I do think that turret scene is like an amazingly tense scene.
It shows how smart they are too, which is amazing. So that was like my favorite movie for such a long time. The first time I went to New York, I ended up buying my first widescreen VHS, and it was Aliens. And I was like, yes, I have this. And people are like, why? They cut off the top and bottom. I'm like, fuck you guys. You don't understand. Anyway.
I did that too.
Depends on the movie, because some movies they cut them to fit on a 4:3, and others they kind of film more of a 4:3 look. Every movie was different back then.
Yeah, I think, but James Cameron generally films for the wide. He always wants the full scope.
I mean, technically speaking, I'll do my pushing up my glasses.
Yeah.
Actually, there's TV format, which is 4:3. Then there's the widescreen, but there's also open matte, which is like the original version when they shoot it and they intend to cut the top and the bottom off, which is not the same as TV format.
Yeah.
So there's something to be aware of. But anyway, I also bought the widescreen because I was a huge movie nerd, so I appreciate that.
I also I really loved the Alien franchise. At least the first 2. I saw Alien 1 not too long after I saw Aliens, because they didn't care who rented movies when you're in the 80s. Like, you could be like 10 and be like, watch this movie. It's
Grab
great.
popcorn and grab Alien.
Yeah.
I would go to the local Flicks and Things with my parents' card, and they would call my parents every single time. Even though my parents give us a written note saying let them use the card to rent this exact movie or this game.
That's amazing.
Every single time.
That,
Oh, I love it.
responsible, but not in St. Catharines. I remember when Alien 3 came out on TMN, like I was waiting for it. And then I was very disappointed in it. And then I saw all the other Aliens movies in theaters, like everyone else here. They've varied in quality. No, they haven't. They've all just been down.
No, they've all been terrible.
I like that Prometheus and Covenant had ideas that they couldn't really figure out, but I like that there are new ideas, if that makes sense.
That's actually something I'm going to talk about with Romulus.
Which they sort of brought into Romulus. Anyway,
Yeah.
I really liked the Alien video game as a kid. Like I used to go to Skylon Tower in Niagara Falls and play the arcade game all the time. So yeah, I really liked the Alien franchise, and I was sort of sad to see it, dip in quality. I remember reading scripts like for what Alien 3 used to be or was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And like what Alien 4 was supposed to be. And you're like, oh man, these could have been cool. That was the beginning of In a Cool News and all that stuff when they used to release that stuff. Remember that in the mid to late 90s? Crazy.
Yeah. That's like early internet, but like you could actually, if you're a movie buff, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
I used to do that in our computer lab at my high school. We used to do that and just look at this shit like this. Yeah.
Before I forget, do you know what the original ending of The Predator was supposed to be?
Which one was The Predator? Is that Shane Black?
That's the bad one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
Okay, well, I don't know if we want to talk about spoilers
go for it.
another movie here.
Who cares?
Oh, okay. So, so at the end of The Predator, there's kind of like a gift that is provided to the humans at the end of the movie who have survived. And it's like this weird sort of coffin thing, and it opens up and it ends up being like power armor, to join the Predator interspecies war or whatever the hell's going on, right? Actually, the original ending was supposed to be, for some reason, a
Xenomorph?
cryogenic. No, it was a cryogenic chamber, and Newt was going to be in it.
What? How does that make sense?
It doesn't fucking make sense. It doesn't.
Newt's in the future.
I know. It doesn't make sense. Okay,
we're going
it doesn't
back
matter.
to the future too. Is there a DeLorean at the end as well?
Marty, it's the aliens, Marty. They're killing everybody.
I will tell you. I know it, but I'll tell you, if that had happened, that would have totally changed my whole perspective of that movie, because that movie would have gone from total poop to what the hell?
You can know they're intentionally trolling you at that point.
You can always save a bad movie by doing something batshit at the end, right?
Yes.
Because then you go, it doesn't make any fucking sense anyway.
Yeah, but it's going to be like an adult Newt, so that makes it even more confusing.
It's totally the trailer from Watchmen, where it ends with like the cartoon from the 80s or 90s that never ended up coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, Rorschach goes, "Yeah, I'm nutty." It's exactly what we're talking about.
It would have made more sense. It would make sense. You could make it make sense with a young Newt, right? Because young Newt could take 50 years to go to another planet, right? Time dilate, that's a thing, right?
I'll send you guys photos of the Predator killer Newt, because this was a real thing. They actually did shoot it, so I'm not making this fucking stuff up.
With the original actress too?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh,
I think they had an
she's much too
adult
old
woman.
now.
Yeah, they had an adult woman.
Oh, that's definitely not her. Yeah.
But that just like what?
She's like the Doomslayer. That's actually awesome.
Yeah, see, there's actually on some levels it's kind of awesome. On other layers, it's very confusing, but it's still better than the actual ending. Which is saying a lot because that movie was so bad.
I'm so confused now.
I know. It doesn't matter. It didn't happen.
It hurts my head.
It doesn't matter. It does. Well, a lot of this stuff is supposed to.
Anyway,
the armor looks cool.
Anyway,
last week, Alien Romulus came out. It totally threw up my whole
I know. I'm sorry. I should have saved it.
Because now I'm thinking of this predator hunting Newt or alien hunting Newt
from the future.
From the future that goes back in time somehow in a
come with me if you wish to live.
Well, look. Okay. I'll put you back on track. Because before Romulus, right, there was going to be that Neil Blomkamp. Well, yeah, and that was going to be like a retcon thing where they were going to just ignore 3 and 4, right? It was going to just come in after 2, and that would have reset the timeline. So this is the same thing, right? In the Predator, they were almost going to do that weird reset because, right, Newt shouldn't be coming back from the future as a Predator killer, right? So anyway, never happened. Just like the Blomkamp, Aliens 5, whatever, never happened. So we're back on track. We're back in the Romulus timeline, which is no retcons.
I will never forgive Ridley Scott for canceling his movie like that.
Well, that's why I didn't want to see this one. I was like, well, no.
Anyway, so last week, Alien Romulus came out. It's by director-writer Fede Alvarez, who directed the 2013 Evil Dead movie, which was really good. and
Yeah,
I
holy
will
shit.
never ever watch again.
Yep, I
Never,
agree.
never. Why
Super
did I
gross.
watch that by myself and alone in the dark? I don't
Because that's the
understand.
best way to watch it.
Yeah, it was actually. And it really anyway, I'll talk
Yeah.
about that movie in another time. This movie stars like so many new people, like Kaylee Spaney, who was in
Priscilla.
sorry, what?
I think she was in Priscilla.
She was in that
Murder at the End of the World.
that movie that just
Civil
came
War?
out, Civil War. Yeah, she was really good in that. It has Isabella Merced, who's in Last of Us season 2. There's a bunch of other people, but those were the two I really recognized. Yeah. So that movie came out to pretty much very good acclaim. I just wanted like a 2-second like non-spoiler like review of what you thought of the film. Let's start with Harcroft.
Can I just go back to, you said Last of Us season 2, or are you talking about the
Yeah.
game
No,
Last of Us 2?
No, season
Yeah,
2.
it's in the can now, I think.
It's in the
season
can.
2.
They finished.
Yeah.
So
a couple
it's
days
not out yet. Okay,
No.
that's why I was confused.
Sorry, she's cast in that. She's also played the adult Dora in the Dora the Explorer movie. And she's been in a bunch of other things. Those were the only ones I could think of right now. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
So I can't give a synopsis because Steve gave the perfect one-line synopsis and he asked to deliver it. It's not
What?
fair for me to steal it.
Okay, I don't even remember what this is now, so you're gonna have to tell me later. But okay,
But I could just say it if you want. Really want?
go ahead. I
This
can.
movie is Aliens: The Reference.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
100% Steve's description. It's just one reference after another to previous Alien movies, and there's some that I was surprised we didn't see. Some that
cool.
we chatted about before, and I felt were too gratuitous. I thought were cool, but then I realized like that part's too gratuitous. And there was some great action. There was some great suspense. There was some great horror. It was very much a reference movie of kind of like Rogue One, where you see stuff that doesn't quite belong in the movie.
Interesting.
It's in universe.
Yes.
So Isabel Merced was also in Transformers: The Last Night, and Instant Family, and Sicario: Day of the Soldado.
El Salado
The sequel.
wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still good.
Hmm.
And Transformers First Night was so bad when we tried to watch it here with some friends, my TV kept crapping out.
Ah,
It was killing my TV.
Your
Trying to
TV,
save you.
your
It
TV
knew.
knew.
It's trying to help
That's
you.
so funny.
And I turned that movie off and something else on, and it worked fine. So that movie was literally killing my like it was telling my TV was telling me, do not watch this movie.
I mean, I don't blame it. That movie was
Fair.
terrible. Steve, your 2-second non-spoiler review.
So to go off that, I came up with a different way of describing the same thing. I now call the movie, it shouldn't have been called Alien Romulus. It should have been called Aliens Greatest Hits. I
Ooh.
do also feel that your mileage may vary because if you want to go into a movie with like all new original stuff, well, you shouldn't be watching Aliens movies to begin with. But this is the most referential Aliens movie of all. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, if you don't like that, then you're not going to like this movie at all. But yeah, I'd say about 80% of it is a homage or a celebration, if you want to be really positive, to previous Aliens movies. It does have a couple things that are new. I will say, it kept my interest. I was never bored. I was interested in it from beginning to end. I think the main caveat is that okay, I will add one more point because Eric brought this up. I didn't really like Covenant and Prometheus because it introduced ideas that are a bit head scratchy, and you can debate them afterwards. But within the movie are a little confusing and a little too groundbreaking, and not like there's a lot of philosophical stuff there, but I don't think it really goes anywhere. This movie, I don't think it really introduced anything that was. Maybe we can debate it in the spoiler section. I don't know that it totally broke the Aliens universe like those other movies did, and I like that. I actually like that it referenced established lore without like introducing yet more bullshit. So on that level, I actually praise it for being referential, not introducing anything too insane. So so there you go. I think it is enjoyable. And I would actually say it's the best of all the Aliens movies after the first and second one, which is a low standard, but is still a standard.
David.
It's 2 very short sentences from Steve.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I think this movie, had it been allowed to stand on its own, instead of having to reference other things, it would have been one of the best alien films, one of the best horror films maybe ever. Even though it wasn't that scary, simply because we're accustomed to this stuff. So it's really good, but it commits the cardinal sin of could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
For me, I really like this movie. It is definitely the third best of the Alien films, and you know what? It was. I think I was really invested into the movie until one moment, and that was the moment when I started realizing how much they were referencing everything else. That didn't like bother me
Sour.
for the rest. It didn't sour the experience because I really liked that movie. I very much enjoyed it, and I really want to see it again. But yeah, I didn't mind the references as much until that one moment, and then that moment just sort of ruined it for me. That being said, I still really like that movie. Yeah, so let's spoil the shit out of this movie. So this movie, spoiler warning. So this movie, when Fede Alvarez has been doing interviews, he talks about how he really wanted to bring this back to its roots, how it really wanted to make it, a simple story about, working people who go up against this, they're trying to live their lives and just move forward, and then they're in this impossible situation, right? Like Ripley's crew they were just
miners,
working Joes.
Yeah, they're working people, and they get screwed over. It's about them against the company, basically. Whereas the last couple Alien films have been about, like Steve said, head scratchy. Where do we come from?
What does this mean?
Yeah, life and religion and
why
the origin of species.
And why do these androids hate their parents and stuff like that? Like, the hate against, authority and stuff like that. This doesn't have that. This definitely goes back to this roots of working people versus the man.
And an impossible situation.
situation.
Yeah, but but you're right. You're right. Actually, I really appreciate that detail from suffering under.
And you really see this at the beginning of the movie, because the first 20-30 minutes is them on a planet, just sort of, trying to get off of it.
It's so bad. No sunlight, right? Clearly polluted.
What'd you guys think of this?
A big colony. It's like less than 3,000 people.
People dying of like black lung essentially constantly.
And they're still bringing canaries from Earth there to, go into those mines, which I thought was really funny.
A lot was told really economically in those opening 10-15 minutes. It felt longer, I think.
It was probably only about 10-15 though.
Because I kept going when are we going to get to the aliens?
That's what I was thinking too. But I was like, oh.
But it's a really good setup. I think that they did a really good job setting everything up. Just slowly ramping that tension up, right? Give us the stakes and then start hammering us.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there's an argument to be made that they are in the same setting as Blade Runner, I think this movie helped, make that connection more so, because it showed like this horrible interplanetary sort of situation. Because we've only ever really been on ships, right, for the most part, right, in the alien movies. And this one showed the desperation of people living in this sort of new future. And I thought I really liked that part of the movie. I don't think it really needed to be more than that, so it was very economical. And I will add, in case I forget later, that like some of the shots in this, like the space shots and the city shots, were just it was beautifully shot for what it is. It's still.
I think it helps you. It tells us how much human life, how little human life is worth. If the fact that why aren't they just sending in androids to do all this work? They would rather bring people all the way out here. That's cheaper than making androids, apparently, right? That don't need to breathe.
They'll lie to those people. The movie starts off with her going, "Hey, I'm done my years. Can I go?" And they're like, "Oh no, we're just gonna double it."
Yeah.
Which was her motivation for kind of getting away, because he's like, "Hey, I'm ready to go. Let's finish this." And it's like, nope, you're we're just doubling up because we feel like it. It's
you do your time in the mines, and you get to go to the sick other nice colony, right?
Which was an interesting way of doing this, because as I mentioned to you guys earlier, most movies you have the request of something of the hero, like let's go on a quest, let's go do this. Then you have the reason for them to say no. In this movie, they did the opposite, where they gave her the reason to or the reason for her to say yes. I'll do the
Yep.
adventure.
Yeah,
Reason to
just
screw her over. In this movie, they did it the other way, where she was given the reason, like to be pissed off and to be ready to flee or whatever, by being told you're stuck
yeah,
here for another 6 or 7 years.
yeah,
Then she was asked, "Hey, do you want to come with us?"
yeah, yeah. That was a really good
Usually, you
point.
usually don't see that in these movies.
And
Yeah,
she
when
was
we were
really
discussing.
reluctant to go too.
Regardless, yes, but yeah, you're absolutely right, Hardcroft. Yeah, when we were discussing this after the movie the other night, yeah, that's true. It was very economical. It was very quick for them to just kind of go, "Yep, your situation absolutely sucks." Yeah, and yeah, despite that, she was still reluctant. But I do feel that that was a good choice for them to like establish that. Yeah, she's just in a really bad situation, and very right away you'd be like, yeah, I would consider this risky thing we're going to do because we got to get out of here. It's not going to get better. So that kind of world building was really effective and quick, and I didn't feel it was rushed.
For sure.
There's an important point there too, in that she knows like people she loved have died. People are
Mm,
dying. Like they show the
mm,
canaries in the coal mine,
Hmm.
literally, right? They
yes,
showed that.
yes,
Um, and she's more afraid of space than she is of this certain death on this planet.
Mm.
That
yeah,
tells you how scary both options are for her.
yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
I never thought about it that like that. I like that. Yeah. Also at the beginning, we also get this. We meet this really. We're introduced to this family dynamic between, oh my god, Rain and Andy,
Andy. Yeah.
her brother, who's we find out very quickly is a synthetic. What do you think
Yes,
about synthetics? Have always been
staple of
a
aliens.
staple of aliens. I'm trying to think of a way to say it where they're always sort of like this boogeyman in the Alien franchise. They're
Yes.
sometimes even scarier than the aliens themselves.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
What did you think of this having the hero and the android character become like sort of family and having that be sort of a main focus in this whole film?
I think is it David Johnson?
David Johnson, yeah.
David Johnson, probably the best actor in this show in this movie.
He was
Um,
phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal job.
amazing.
Cool to watch. Yeah.
Just like everything he does, it's so visceral, and his physical acting is great. His emoting as a android, you're like, why do I feel bad for an android right now? Like,
Yeah.
just like the way he furrows his brows, you're like, God damn it! I know this guy is not having a good time. Like he's having a tough time. Just the way his face looks, and that's not his normal face. Like he made
Yep.
that happen. This guy's really good. And he plays very pivotal roles in the movie, as the androids always do, right? And there's some great subversions there. Going back and forth. The dynamic was interesting. I didn't think it was necessary, but I think it's meant to add stakes, right? It's one of those things where it helps the plot along that she cares that much about him. Because if she doesn't care about him, if she just cares about all synths for some reason,
Sure.
right? Like, does she care about synths more? So it's just like, well, we'll just make them family, and it doesn't feel, useless or anything. Like it's there for a reason. But it's not like forced. Like the characters
Mhm.
aren't serving just the plot, right? Like
Yeah.
the plot is happening around them, and they're reacting to it, which is really good.
And Andy sort of, when we meet like Michael and Walter, they're sort of these iterations of androids that sort of had more. They were closer to humans. Like I remember Walter saying that the original Michael version was too close to humans, so they started to par back on it. And Andy feels sort of more like Michael. Like he felt more human at points until we get that switch. And we're not going to do a play by play of this movie, so you can feel free to jump around. Like when he does get that switch,
that upgrade.
There are parts where you're like, okay, he's more like.
Yeah, he's more like the other what we
he's more
normally
like
expect
what
from
we know.
synthetics. Yeah.
But there's still sort of that little bit behind. So you're like, I like that the aesthetic of him caring for Rain. What a weird name. So you never know if they're actually gonna turn on each other, and you always expect the android to turn on the humans in these movies.
Well, I think that's a really good point that Ark said, that it's one of those things where there's established lore in the setting, and this was one of those cases where they just ran with it without having to explain it too much, and managed to play it on both ends, right? Like we get this sort of, well, we'll say defective or slightly sympathetic.
He's an older
He's
synth,
an
right?
older,
And he's a
yeah,
working class synth. Like he's not really the expensive model, although he's strong and stuff. But
yeah. So
yeah,
initially, he is very. It's a very sympathetic character because yeah, he's got to be rebooted a couple times. Like he's definitely a little bit messed up, and we learned that her father, actually like programmed him, with like dad jokes and everything, like as a thing to carry on, and so yeah, I mean the relationship was not forced,
Mhm.
and that's actually a really good detail because yes, there's a lot of movies that wouldn't handle these types of dynamics as well. And yeah, again, it's like with the colony at the beginning, the mining colony. There's so much that's sort of expressed very quickly, shorthand. Same with the synth thing. Like if you've watched Aliens, you understand what synthetics are, and you sort of are a bit suspicious of them, right? Because I mean, 1 out of 6 encounters have been bad, right? I mean, good. Sorry, good, right? 1 out of 6 have been good, right? I don't even know. I'm just throwing that
Alien
number out there.
3, Bishop is still Bishop.
That's true.
it would
But
be
even that one was the
really.
corporate representative, though.
True.
I would love to hear someone's opinion who's never seen an Alien movie about this movie,
Yes.
right? Because I think this movie
I
might
actually wrote that down
really
as a
hit
question.
for a generation. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I've been thinking since we watched this, like I'm probably going to put together a collection for myself of the expanded Blade Runner, Predator. Some people debate that Firefly is part of it too. Aliens, so it's ridiculous. We're not going to get into it.
There's no reason Firefly can't exist in
Yeah.
this
Well,
universe. That's
the only
all it is.
the only reason is because there's like one scene in one of the early episodes where like someone is shooting like an auto gun and there's like a Weyland-Yutani logo in it.
Oh yeah,
But
I do remember that.
it's like 100 years or 200 years to 300 years after Aliens, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, regardless.
Oh, you mean
I've been
the
thinking
Alien Resurrection?
Okay, 300 years after Resurrection.
No,
Which was 200 years after the.
200 years. Okay, yeah.
No, but I
They
mean, it's
also had
Fireflies after
spacesuits
that.
from
Okay,
Starship
fair,
Troopers,
fair.
right?
Oh my god.
Really?
S-
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
at the
Serenity
very end of the
said
movie,
2517.
At the end of the
Nice.
movie, all the props, the weapons and armor are all right off, like right out of Starship Troopers.
Yeah, it's true.
Nice.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so I've been thinking about this sort of expanded universe, ridiculousness. And crap, I don't remember what I was talking about with the synth. It's gone. I'm sorry. What the hell was I talking about?
It wouldn't be Geeks with Kids if we didn't just forget what we were talking about
Oh
while
my
we were
God.
talking
All right.
about it.
It'll
Welcome
come
to
back later.
Alzheimer's, the podcast.
Hey, we're geriatrics with something that starts with K.
I mean, we could just call it something geriatric with something that starts with K. That'd be funny. Yes, we're also introduced to this, the ragtag group of survivors. Pretty early in the movie, the brother, his cousin, the guy, his cousin, the guy's sister. I don't remember any of their names because they weren't that important to me.
Yeah, they really didn't use their names a lot. It's like they didn't want us to care.
And then there was a pilot. That was it, right? Pilot.
Yeah. But it's one of those situations where you genuinely like already again, like maybe it was on purpose because it's a horror movie, so they're all going to get knocked
Yeah.
off. So
Well,
it's like, who cares?
The
right?
thing that bothered me is the first trailer showed the pilot with a chest buster.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
already knew that she was
Yeah.
gonna die, and I was just like, "Come on,
I
man!"
hated that.
It's actually
So-
one problem I have with movies like this is when somebody says, "Oh, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I want to tell you this one thing," and it's the same thing as you've seen in the trailer, right? But then you go see that part of the movie, and you're reminded of the trailer or the person saying, "I'm going to tell you about this"
Yep.
without
Yeah.
spoiling it, and
Yeah.
you're not thinking about that movie. So she gets the X-ray thing pointed
Yeah.
through her back
Yeah,
in
that's
the
the thing.
trailer.
That's
and
the
it's
thing in
like
the trailer.
Yeah, to give that away.
that really like I watched
I-
as little of the trailer as possible, and I still saw it, and it kind of ruined that scene for me.
That was the first
Honestly,
trailer. Yeah.
because of my sort of like declining experience with the Aliens and Predator series, I wasn't gonna watch this movie until later, and then I caught the trailer and I was like, oh God, why would they give all this stuff away? So I was really annoyed with that. I will say the fact that her brother is a synthetic is established really early, so that's not so much a spoiler because they do actually
Was
spoil
that in
that in the trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a scene in the trailer where his eyes go all weird and you can see the
Oh, the Weyland
they're
Yutani
blank.
logo.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a synthetic, right? I was like, oh well, they just gave away that twist. Except it's not really a twist.
Mhm.
But then they subvert it further because then it is a twist again. And he gets kind of upgraded, right?
Yeah.
So that's okay. But yeah, I hated that they gave away that the pilot gets shanked by impregnation.
Can I talk about the synth a little bit? Because there's a lot of
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that
go for
bothered
it.
me about
Go
the
ahead,
synth
go for
that
it,
like
yeah.
you wouldn't. Okay, being a guy who's very technical, when I watch any movie, I have to like just bite my tongue or suspend my disbelief or just
Uh-huh.
ignore really dumb tech stuff in movies.
Mm.
So he literally said at one point, the synth said, "Oh, they're rewriting my routines and fixing my my ability to move. It's just fixing me
Yeah, it
in
was
general,
upgrading.
right?
Yeah.
Upgrading and fixing me, and it's like, okay, but when they undo that, like when they take out the memory chip,
Yes.
the memory disk, suddenly his routines are all broken again. It's like that was just dumb. I really hated that. It
Didn't
didn't
she
make any
reset him so
sense.
he lost all that stuff? Isn't that what
I
Don't
happened?
think
when we
that's
need to explain it, then we're already.
Because I assume
yeah.
she's
If you're
factory resetting him every time, but he also doesn't really
which
lose his memory, which is weird.
another
I
point
didn't.
of that
Yeah.
is she literally winds him up like a ticker toy.
Yeah, I
Well,
know it
yeah,
actually
it's
Which I
twisted.
thought was kind of a little like, ha ha ha.
I think
Yeah,
I
we
think
get
that was
it.
I think that was meant to make it very obvious that it was like a really
yeah.
like a serious sort of thing.
I think it
Um,
makes sense because I think there's in the Wayland Yutani future, people complain about how when they reset their synths, they keep breaking the USB in their neck, right? Like because you got to twist it and like it gets jammed and then it breaks and now you got to take it in for servicing, right? You got to bring it to the Wayland Yutani store
Mm.
and you voided the warranty because of whatever. Like
Took out the
it's
sticker. Man.
yeah, you know.
wait, you're just screwing with us.
I
right?
remember
Right?
it's funny because when she took out the disc, I kept thinking of this old like x86 computer I had, but they used to run the OS on the floppy disks on the 5.25. So it was sort of me thinking, it was like, is he run on my floppy? And he's just
Yeah.
going, back to the old.
I mean, I do agree with Hardcroft in that, like, yeah, when I watch these movies, I'm always looking at, okay, I understand that this is a conceit, it's a visual shorthand. We understand like what the process is for like changing his personality. We're gonna represent it with a physical disc and a whole like little drive bay and everything, which we've never seen for synthetics. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we get it. He's a robot, right? But that's the thing. Like, it was a little bit like it was convenient to a point, and then it became a little bit like, okay, wait, what does he retain? What doesn't he retain? I also thought the same thing.
I thought he would
I
keep like some like
Personality,
the
right?
personality and like upgrade, but like maybe the main his main I don't know.
I read it differently. I figured that like, but this is the problem. Like, we're debating it now, which means it wasn't quite right. Okay, I mean, I figured
maybe
that
that's what they
after he
wanted.
got the I don't know. I think after he got the patch upgrade, maybe he just hadn't been patched, because I mean he was just this trash, synthetic, and there was no way for him to upgrade. And then when he got the official like, software package, he got
2.0.
got like Windows 11 there, or 12 or 15 or whatever. And those changes aren't necessarily going to go away, right? So his physical. So that's the thing. I didn't really understand why he had physical problems because of his crappy.
Oh, they mentioned his motor cortex was damaged, and like that helped repair it. So it's some kind of memory issue of like, or his compute issue where his limbs were not working properly. His quote unquote nerve fiber type things weren't working properly.
Okay, I mean,
I did hang that on a lantern.
I agree with you, Hardcroft, on that should have maybe not been retained. But on the other hand, I would hand wave that a little bit. It's like, okay, the physical stuff
maybe his hard drive is not writing anymore, and he's just in the temporary memory. That's where the upgrade is held, which doesn't make sense.
If you guys reference it like Windows 10 is right now, because if you tell Windows 10 and Windows 11 stop reporting everything I do to Microsoft, and then you do a Windows update, all that stuff's immediately back on.
Yeah,
so that's a very realistic like description of the way things happen today, even with computers.
That's amazing.
I was thinking this when I was watching the movie. I was like, is that how that would work? I don't think so either. I agree. Right?
I think we all
no.
Like, oh, he took out the disc and now he goes back. That's so
but
weird.
for the sake of the movie,
but he still remembered everything that happened before, right?
That's true too. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, okay. I mean, they don't really explain how the AI works exactly, so I'm just gonna hand wave it. They're not actually they're not actually replicants. They're synthetics, which is a different thing. So, whatever.
If you play
away a little bit.
If you play the video games that expand on some things, like they definitely have different levels of synth, right?
Like isolation, the game, you mean?
Well, also like there's like 6 different levels of synth in Alien Fireteam Elite. Like if you don't have a full team, you will have a synth, like a combat synth with you, right? Also, you fight combat synths and you fight non-combat synths, right? Like there's the I think they actually call them Andes. I
think they were called Working Joes and synth
Working
in
Joes
isolation.
because there's different. Well, there's different. That's not Wayland Yutani.
Yeah, they were different brands.
Right, the other company makes Working Joes. So I think they're Wayland Yutani because Alien Colonial or whatever. Sorry, it's called Fireteam Elite is all Wayland Yutani stuff. You're on a Wayland Yutani colony, and so I think they might call them Working. It's been a bit since I've played that game, but they also just look like pale people, right? They're like
they make them very obvious. Yeah, like on
that
purpose.
synth.
Yeah.
I'm suddenly thinking of Almost Human now, where they had every regular cop compared with a synth.
Classic Carl Urban TV.
Did we ever end up talking about the crew? Or did
No,
we
let's
see-
get back to the
We
crew.
started to, but I brought
Sorry.
us back to the
Yeah,
droid.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked that
Apologies.
they gave away the one pilot death. But anyway, yes, please continue.
No, that was
That was
threw
one
it
of
to
the
you guys.
few things I thought was annoying, like about the pilot, because the pilot finds the thing and then foreshadows like, "Oh, I have an X-ray thing,"
Yeah.
and then takes way too long to use that. By the like,
Well, the truth is, if that hadn't been in the trailer, I think it would have been fine. But the thing is, we were waiting for that, right? So it was
Mhm.
already kind of
no,
like,
I mean like they pick it up, they use it, they go cool, and then just like 20 minutes later, they're like, "Oh, that thing went down my throat. Maybe I should." Nah, I won't
Well,
use it.
There's so
Like-
much foreshadowing in this
It's so
movie, like
conscious,
way
though.
early. Like when Rain walks by the hook, that she uses
Yeah.
at the end. I was like, oh, she's gonna use that later.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh,
yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
just that's
It's
just
one of those
basic
things of
movie.
like she picks it up, she uses this thing, and then literally they said, "What are the chances?" And he goes, "Oh, 60-40 against." It's like, how will we know 100% for sure right the fuck
Yeah.
now?
Mhm.
That's war. Sorry.
We literally
That's
just,
okay,
and
it's fine,
someone
like-
saw her use it, so there was
Yeah.
2 people who could have had the idea. It's the only time
but
I
she
think in the
didn't know.
movie.
The woman who saw her use it went back to the ship, didn't she?
Yeah, she was
that's
she was
the
in the
sister.
ship the whole time. Yeah,
the pregnant lady?
sister was in the ship the whole
It's
time.
the only
yeah.
time in the movie I felt like someone didn't make the smartest decision they kind of could have, right?
Sure.
I think they tried to
But
plan around that by making it like people who saw her use that weren't there at the time, or they tried to plan around that a little bit.
I'm okay to hand wave that part too, because I think the pilot. I mean, she was like literally unconscious after the facehugger got her, right?
And
So
then she was
just
sort of
struggled.
freaking out about it.
But
so-
Yeah,
she had
she-
the wherewithal to take that with her. Like that's the thing.
Well, I think she was already
Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah. Again,
Well, I
so
mean, she was
we're
also like
debating.
she was they were looting the place anyway, so any
Yeah.
cool tech she can use that'll help them, or she can sell later.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it from the standard template for my way of reviewing movies, which is if this was a role playing game, would this actually play out the way that it did? And this movie is about 90% correct in that. So if I had looted that thing, that would still already be on me, and then I might have forgotten that.
I would have been checking if we were playing an RPG. I'd be like, I use it on everybody.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
100%.
Fair
I'm
enough.
gonna know if you're a fucking synth.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
fair.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? Because
Can we talk about the actual? Because I'm on Reddit right now, actually, and the one, the big thing that people are split on, and I said they'd be split about it, is the biggest spoiler, maybe that you don't see in the trailer, is the return of Ian Holm's
Ian
likeness, the ghost of Ian Holm, which a lot of people are upset with, me included.
for sure.
Fede Alvarez is quoted as saying, "It was unfair that the likeness was never used again. That doesn't mean you go ahead and use it, because I think
saw
they
that
did
headline, too.
a terrible, for parts of it was fine, in other parts it looked awful, and that means it's not worth doing. If you can't do it right, don't do it.
I
It
agree.
felt
Do you
it
read
felt
about
gross.
the family stuff?
No, Ian Holm, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Rook,
No,
the
his family, real life.
I don't know, but I don't care. I don't care if they're
Okay.
fine with it or not. I think it's gross. I think it's gross if an actor's dead and you use their likeness to such an extent, right?
Especially when it's not really warranted. Like Tarkin was pretty well warranted, or a very brief cameo with again
Like-
Rogue One.
It's not like the only science officer synth that exists is one that looks like Ian Holm. And also, they did a really good job alluding to it, keeping him. We talked about this, keeping him in shadows.
Yeah,
And then there's supposed to be the big reveal that, oh my god, it looks like Ian Holm, and it looked like shit.
yeah.
Like
I
it's
mean, you
the
turned to me
only,
in the theater.
it's the only CG shot in the movie that looks garbage. Like it should be cut from the movie. Everything else looks
Yeah.
great. It totally pulled me out of the movie. All the shots when he's on a view screen, you're like, that looks great. That looks fine. We could have stuck with that. But to just put, when they took him out of shadows and out of profile, it's like, oh, it's garbage. Like, I don't care if you can try and use the voice and stuff, allude to it, but when they actually did it, like it wasn't worth.
I don't know if they could have like done it in shadows throughout the rest of the movie. He was very like prominent in this movie. Like I thought he was gonna be
Yeah.
just like there and
Yeah.
then gone, but he was there
Yeah,
for
he's
the
there a
whole
lot.
time.
Yeah, they made him.
He's
an
essentially one of the antagonists of the film.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting discussion, because I think this is the first time, other than say like
Oh.
Tarkin, where we have this implementation of a actor who's passed, and I think this was in a way a worse, because I think Rogue One was a fairly like unoffensive, like we understand this actor.
Well, Carrie Fisher hasn't passed away yet, right? When they did the young Princess
No,
Leia?
I
Yeah.
Yes, no, she hadn't. But Tarkin, Peter Cushing had been gone for a very, very long
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and he looked so fake that it was kind of like, okay, well, whatever, right? I mean, it's sort of an accepted, like we're trying to keep the continuity. We respect that part more than whatever the questions may arise. But the
Mhm.
problem is this entered that uncanny valley discussion again, right? And AI especially, because when they did Tarkin in Rogue One, that really AI really wasn't a debate, right?
Mm.
Now we're in an era where like AI voice, AI everything is like is on the table, right? So I don't really know what the process was, and actually, Harcroft, that's a really good point. I didn't look into what the family thought. I wasn't.
So Fede Alvarez talked about it with his wife,
Yes,
his
sure.
widow, and they had talked about, using his likeness in the film, and she agreed to it and was like,
No, that's good to
"Got
know.
it."
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
is more to it than that.
Yeah.
Go on.
She said that he felt like he had been shunned by Hollywood after The Hobbit, and he really wanted to be back in there, but he passed away
Okay.
before he could be in any more big films.
Mhm.
Okay.
So she felt that was like a good, like the family felt that was a good goodbye or a good,
Yeah.
That
last
makes me
hurrah
Well,
sort
that
feel
of thing.
like they should have done a better job then.
Yeah. So that
Yeah,
was sort of where I was coming from. Was
that's
just
fair.
like I'm curious now, like how actors will regard their legacies and whether or not they'll be able to sign off on their likeness to perpetuity
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
what. Like I don't know. It's a really weird. This is the
I,
first time I've really considered it because Peter Cushing died way before this was like a discussion, right?
he
Mhm.
died in
And
'94. Yeah.
Yeah.
and now we're in the era of like AI, like simulation of stuff. Like we could totally represent actors who've passed in to much better degrees. And I agree with
Mm.
Ark on that, but it's still like a question, right? So
Yeah.
that was that. Yeah, that took me out of the movie absolutely. And I was just going, man, I wish they could have hid his face a little bit longer
Yeah.
for most of it.
Because they
If
used
it
an
would have
act.
looked perfect, I
Yeah.
think we all would have gone, "Oh shit, that's sick." But
Yeah.
I think because it looks like crap, I think we're like,
Like
Yeah, it was slightly
like
a little early.
we watch things like Corridor Crew, and they talk about subsurface layering and all that stuff. For
yeah,
there was something off. He looked more android than he should have.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
They should
and
have fucked up his face more, honestly.
there's
yeah.
something with his eyes too that
Oh,
just didn't look real. Like they were sort of glossy without
there
it
Yeah.
being.
was something I watched where they were talking about for Alien 3, they couldn't get Lance Henriksen, right?
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah.
So they fucked up his mannequin so much that it's like unrecognizable so that it looks fine. So when you see the scene when she's fucking with the head,
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, okay, it's all fucked up." Because they knew they weren't going to get a
Right.
good enough shot to look like that. They could have
Right.
they could have done that here. They could have made it like taken half his face off. They could have taken
Yeah.
his whole face
Which
off.
is what
Like,
it kind of looked like initially, right? And then
yeah.
he cleaned up real nice,
I
I mean,
It's
when he was in Shadow, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, please.
No, I was gonna say before they do the full reveal, when he was sitting on the counter, but whatever. But his body was on propped up on the counter, and he kind of was in silhouette. I was like, oh, that actually looks like
yeah.
Serene Home,
Yeah.
right?
Same.
And I kind of wish they'd kept it like that, where the lighting was really bad. Because yeah, like later, because initially I did not recognize him when he was on the floor, right? And then when they actually propped him up, I was like, oh, that actually kind of looks like Ian Holm. That would be kind of a cool reference, right? But then they did like, yeah, that horrifying, you know, uncanny valley
It
bullshit.
looked like an off-the-shelf face swap app.
Is
Like
bad.
I'm
It's like
looking
a crappy
forward.
mask almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking
Mm.
forward to seeing the VFX breakdown because there has to. I'm sure there was someone there
Yeah,
doing because
they're gonna fix
they
it.
talked about how they used an actor and they sort of did
Mhm.
technical mojo to mix it with Ian Holmes Sir Ian Holmes' voice to make it sort of mesh
Yeah.
together. Um, and yeah, I love seeing VFX breakdowns because I want to know how this is progressing because
Mm.
this isn't going to be the last time we see, unfortunately,
No.
you know, people being reproduced and especially with a lot of prequels and stuff happening, and we're gonna get another Alien prequel in a couple years.
We're
So
getting an Alien series soon, right?
yes,
Oh,
TV series. We'll
really?
talk about
What's
that at the end.
Oh,
Um,
no.
Alien Earth.
Alien Earth, yeah. Oh, and if Steve doesn't know about it, I get to explain this to him, which
Oh,
I'm gonna very
no.
much enjoy. Um,
Damn it.
let's we talked about the crew. Let's talk about the bringing it back to the horror roots. And this movie
Can
did.
I reference something
Oh
about
yeah, for sure.
the synth that I just kind of thought about?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to harm humans unless they
Mhm.
make the decision to and they reference this early in the movie of you're allowed to kill a couple humans to save more humans, essentially.
Not
the
it's
trolley
not
dilemma.
kill, it's
Let them die.
let them die to
It's
save all the
calculation,
humans.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of went against that, where he didn't know if he was going to help the human race in general or not. He thought he was. He might have been. He like literally tried to kill the humans several times or leave them to die.
I think
You know?
Well, that's
I think the thought
so
is
it's
that the
because
company is going to help people
yes.
by using this. So
Well,
that's
he has
yeah.
two different directives because his original directive will probably allow him to harm people, is do what's best for Rain, and then his
Humanity as
other
a whole.
directive is what's best for the
Not
company.
him. Not him. The
Ian
other
Holm.
one.
Oh, Ian
No.
Holm? Oh, he's also
Yeah.
definitely programmed. The Weyland Yutani synths are programmed. They can hurt people.
He's definitely like the you can kill people.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
This is
willing to kill the whole
Company
crew of the
first,
ship.
then other
Yeah.
people.
they can't
Yeah.
murder people, but like
You
they're
can leave
totally
them to die at
He's
their
like
slightest
Batman. He
whim.
doesn't have to save you, but he doesn't have to kill you, but he doesn't have to save you either.
Yeah, their
Don't have to
prime
save you
directive
either.
is what's best for the company. But the people aren't told that, right? It's
Yeah.
like we don't actually know how Teslas are programmed to not
To kill people?
cause an accident,
Oh.
right? Yeah, we don't know.
Allegedly, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. So let's talk about this movie. Like this movie was supposed to bring it back to the horror roots, and did it successfully do that? I can think of definitely a number of sequences that
man,
really worked.
jump scares are such bullshit, and they did that. They did it once, I think, which is
Yeah, it wasn't.
But
It
it was
wasn't
only at the
over.
end,
It
wasn't
wasn't
it?
over. It wasn't
yeah,
too much.
but it wasn't scary because we're
It was
fans of
intense,
Alien.
I think. But it's
But if you
definitely
were,
been
like-
better than the last number of Alien movies in that sense.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, that was my whole sort of caveat for this whole movie. Like, I was planning on, if I was going to see it, based on sort of what the buzz was after it had come out, because I actually, yeah, like I was kind of done with the Alien series, and I only went because you guys were going. And my hope for the film going in was, well, I like Alvarez, I like what he did with Don't Breathe,
Oh
which I
yeah.
thought would be a really good analogy for this type of thing. And then, yeah, Evil Dead as well, because that Evil Dead was a really super gross, super disturbing movie. And I was like, well, he could go either way, right? Because Don't Breathe was like a really intense thriller, like a lot of like, what I expect from an Aliens movie, right? And my hope going in was that he would make a scary horror movie and a just passable Aliens movie. Like I didn't want him to like rock the boat on the Aliens universe, right? And he kind of didn't, but then the horror stuff I didn't feel lived up to my expectations.
Yeah.
So
This is very consumable horror, right? Like this it's more intense than it is
It's
scary.
rewatchable too, unlike Evil Dead.
sure.
Yes.
Fair,
I was
very fair.
expecting like I'm never gonna want to watch this movie again. Levels of brutality,
That's true.
and I do want to. I actually do want to watch it again. It was
Yeah.
That
no, I agree with you.
the
all of you
face
guys.
huggers scene at the beginning, the one where they
good.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But I think with Alien movies, we like everybody, but like one person's gonna die, so like we're not like really too attached. And maybe he tried to play into that. So instead of trying too hard to make you actually care about who's gonna, because we know it's gonna be the final girl.
Yeah.
Just okay. Then you know the notes. Let's play them.
Yeah. No, I think
and let's
this
play them
is-
well.
Yeah, I
It
think
did
this is
definitely have
true.
a lot of plot armor throughout the movie. Like you felt that
Sure.
she should have died a few times.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a weird.
they had the
Go ahead.
Hicks scene where they're like, "Here's your gun." She's like, "Yeah, okay." So this is where she becomes, that Ripley part of
Yeah.
her, and you're like, "Okay, this person is definitely gonna live." And you're like, "Every single person here is gonna die." This person is pregnant, so she's definitely gonna die, somewhat grossly, probably, and she does because she
I
definitely.
don't think she
Yeah.
died in a gross way.
I don't know. Well, she definitely had one of the grossest scenes in the
She-
movie.
I mean, if you think about, because like what she birthed
yeah,
killed her,
yeah.
and the birthing part was the gross part.
The birthing part was like
super gross.
so they took the cesarean section from like Alien Prometheus, and they were like, let's up that just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
uh,
Yep. I agree.
Sorry, I don't even.
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
going for this.
Well, no. I think that's the funny thing with this movie is like, and this I think was the critical thing that they needed to solve. If you're not going to reboot the series and do something totally new like Prometheus or Covenant, well, actually Covenant was actually the least original of all the movies. But the thing is, you have to deal with all these sort of preconceived notions, right? And I think he navigated it fairly well. Because we're not complaining too much about the unoriginality of the movie. Like, if anything, we're kind of celebrating. Like, yeah, I think he did the references good.
Yeah.
So in that way, he succeeded. But yeah, because we're talking about what we expect from synthetics, what we expect from even an alien birth, because it happened before. Like all these things happen in other movies. But I think in a way he didn't disappoint because he was able to take our expectations and either subvert them or fulfill them, for the most part, and I think, yeah, I think that's that, in a way, now looking back at it, I would also want to watch the movie again, which is saying something, and yeah, he navigated a lot of, because like that's the thing. What is this, like 30 years? 30? I don't even know how many years going
20.
back. Now.
79 was the first Alien.
Oh my
It's
god.
20 years after Alien.
Oh my god. Okay, so like, yeah, decades of expectations which have almost never been fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like, I think pretty much every film after the second film has not been, satisfactory. This is as close as it gets. And largely it's because he's taking all these things that we fully expect are going to go one way or another, and either fulfilling them, or, twisting them a tiny little bit,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah.
mean, he even took the setting like a space station, and
Yep.
like David said, like after the movie, like we expected a Dead Space type setting, and it sort of worked out pretty well. Like I liked what he did in the space station.
The zero G sequence was also very Dead Space.
Yeah, that was the original.
Oh, and
that
the
was
lack of
really-
sound in space was really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
really
good.
The
appreciate
muted
that.
sounds only when things collide with the ships or
Yeah.
collide with the people.
Oh,
Their
Yeah,
spacesuits.
I really appreciated that, because that put me back in the framework, in the mind frame, sorry, of the original Alien movie, which I think was one of the movies that I think did a really good job of establishing the isolation
Mhm.
and the sort of the the vastness of space, and just the creepiness of it, but the extra added effect of having the no sound,
Mhm.
which is like, oh yeah, that's true, right? I mean, it's really scary, right? And that was the whole tagline, right? No, in space, no one can hear you scream, right? That was the original trailer
which
line.
is funny because there was no silent sequences in the first Alien, and this movie
No.
starts off with a silent
Yep.
sequence, which was crazy because there was a moment like it had gone for such a long time that I was like, did this sound actually fuck up?
Or, like, did the movie pause or something? Is
Yeah,
what it felt like, right?
Yeah, and it was crazy because I'd never been in a theater where everyone eventually just became quiet. Like you could hear people eating popcorn at first and like chattering like
Yeah, I
people
felt
normally
real
do.
bad about that.
and then it became quiet.
Oh, it was you.
That was one of them.
But everyone quieted down, and then we were just like, oh fuck, okay, there's the sound.
So interestingly, the tagline for this movie is "In space, no one can hear you."
Eat popcorn.
So they just dropped the scream part from the original tagline, right?
I don't like that. I don't like that.
This referenced the movie, right?
And like they
the
had
Alien
no one
kids.
to contact once they were on this. It's like there's no backup for them, right? Like
Yeah.
like they can't call down like, "Hey, we're illegally, on this thing. Can someone come save us?" Like that's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
Speaking of that,
scenario is solid.
At the
Go ahead.
beginning of the movie, they introduced so many characters so quickly with like the crew of that little hauler.
Mhm.
I thought there was 6 people. I'm thinking like, there's 5 pods there and 6 people plus a synth. What's gonna happen? And no, there was 5 people. Like,
Yeah,
they
they
just got
explained-
too many too fast. For
Mm.
Yeah,
introductions.
yeah.
Fair.
That's true.
I sort of want to talk about how visually stunning this movie was because
All
It's
practical.
basically all practical. Like
Yeah.
it felt more Ridley Scott than Ridley Scott has done in such a long time,
Yeah,
which is
Yeah.
crazy.
it's true. Okay, I'm just gonna throw in, like, I'm not a super Ridley Scott fan these days. I don't like how he complains so much about people complaining about his stuff. I think he's kind of gotten to the weird sort of headspace that a lot of, I don't know,
Old
people
filmmakers
who,
have gotten to.
well, I mean, there's just a lot of people, who read too many comments, made on their work, and then they get into these Twitter/troll sort of
I feel like
battles.
Ridley Scott's always been that guy though.
He has. Yeah, it's not a new thing. And the truth is, like, yeah, that's where, like, it's been a long time that I've been kind of not enjoying his personality. But yes, I agree. I think that was the thing that I think really made the difference in the first 2 Alien movies, is the visuals, right? And Blade Runner as well. Like, there's just these breathtaking sort of neo-futurist or retro-futurist sort of visuals, and the lived-in look, right? Like, like Lucas said about Star Wars, right? Like that element of the used space stations, the used ships, right? And we got a really good return to that in this movie. And yes, no, the visuals are definitely something that I think really helped, like in those scenes where, like, yeah, they're in trouble. They're about to hit like a ring, of debris, right? Of space rocks, right? But to see it, right, like, displayed in that fidelity, that was one advantage of the movie being made now, for sure.
They also didn't cheat that very much. They're like, oh yeah, our axis of
Mhm.
orbit
Rotation.
got knocked out just enough that we're gonna crash earlier, which is uh, and actually, when the movie was starting, when they said, "Oh, we have 36 hours," like it's like, okay, we know how long the story's going to
Yep.
take.
Yep.
Nope, they changed it up, and they changed it up well, and
I
they did a
like
great
that.
job
Yeah.
with how they
Yeah.
changed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, there is one thing I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about how we were doing callbacks, and we will talk about the amount of callbacks. Did we do that? We didn't do that yet.
Not
Not really.
no.
We've been
We
hinting
didn't.
at it, but yeah.
But there is
Yeah.
one thing that I did not expect them to touch upon, and that was the black goo from Prometheus and Covenant. What did you think of their incorporating that element? I thought they were just gonna fucking go away with that.
Man, it's like they retroactively made those movies better.
It's sort of like what Star
Yeah.
Wars is doing, trying to do right now with the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
Trying
like
and failing.
I like
Trying and
that.
failing, yeah.
I did initially. I was like, yeah, I was like you, Eric. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then they used it to really great effect in this film
Yeah.
because when Rook lied to them about it,
Yeah.
and then that is a beautiful piece of dramatic irony where the audience knows what's going to
Mhm.
happen and the characters don't. And that's a great way to ramp up tension because we're going. The
Mhm.
right is like, oh, use this thing, it'll heal her, and it's like, well, wait a minute. So we're going back and forth, and then she does use. Okay, now how long is that process going to take? Right? What is that process going to look like? It was really well done. Unfortunately, it was interspersed with all of that fan service we were talking about.
Yeah.
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 Then nope.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. No. I think that's like, truthfully, I completely discarded all the shit from Covenant and Prometheus because I don't want to think about it because to me I think it's just sloppily done and I don't want to get in that debate as to like the goo, what's the relationship between the engineers and humanity and the goo and everything else, right? So its implementation in this movie was fine. I don't want to think about it too much. Honestly, I don't fully understand how it relates, and I agree with that it does improve those other two movies.
Yeah.
But I don't even care. I mean, the thing is, it was an established like new X factor that was gonna like mess things up, and they fulfilled that promise.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I'm glad that they used it and they didn't try and explain it. And
exactly.
I like that the birth alien at the end sort of looked like an engineer. I thought that was sort of neat.
Yeah, that was
like,
interesting.
so I had
Yeah,
no
it begs new questions, but not so much that it threw me out of the movie.
Harkoff.
Pretty gross in a good way, in
Yeah.
the sense of like, oh, like I know what this is, but it's so disgusting.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
It really was disgusting.
It felt cooler than the Venom goo that we've seen in the MCU. Like I like the look of this, like the black goo. I don't know why. I just like the visual
It's
aspect.
not as shiny.
Yeah, and
Well,
when
it's minimalist.
and when they showed it the first time, it made it look like that cylinder that David shot down from that ship
Yes.
in the whatever the last movie was, Alien Covenant.
Covenant.
Yeah. So I thought that
I
was
actually
cool.
mentioned Eric. I was leaning over. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like Alien Prometheus, and I'm like, wait, no. And you told me no, it's
It's
Covenant. I'm like,
Covenant.
yeah, right. I thought that when the synth got on the station, he'd have some latent programming once he recognized the chest bursters or something,
Mhm.
that he would just snap to, oh, we have to preserve this life and
Right.
protect that, blah blah. And I'm like, okay, they went a different way, but that was exactly what happened. Was he switched to, I have to do something with the alien, the xenomorph.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They even
That
referenced.
was stuff.
Yeah. Sorry.
It didn't directly reference it.
No.
It was just something I thought would happen that they
Yeah.
subverted again.
I was gonna say they even referenced that Wayland himself died on that Prometheus thing, which I didn't think they would mention, or I didn't even think that would have gotten back to them for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, that's not important.
No, that's stuff I'm going to have to pay more attention to on another viewing. Yeah, that's
If you want to rewatch those movies, I rewatched
those ones
them all.
not so much. but
Yeah.
you
Let's
poor
talk
bastard.
about the callbacks that happened pretty much
Sure.
throughout the movie, which were the most egregious and which worked in the movie. Because like Steve was saying, after we saw the movie, they pretty much touched upon each of the movies and hit at least one reference. Except I can't think of Alien. Oh, Alien 4 is the humanoid one at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Alien 3 is the only
yeah.
one I'm not sure about. But anyway, you guys go ahead.
Yeah, there's no dog aliens.
Yeah, there wasn't like there wasn't a
Yeah.
mutated like other species alien. The only thing I could say was that they reused the synthetic because that was the first time you saw a synthetic
Yeah.
for the second time, right? Was in 3, which is kind of a lame but there's nothing direct because 3 really is very specific to its planet, So I don't know.
Well, one of them ended up birthing sort of an alien, right? Like Ripley had the queen inside of her, and
That's
that
true.
sister. I don't
That's
know. That's
true.
sort of that's
Yeah.
shaky at best. Which
Yeah.
one-
So references. Go ahead.
What were the good ones, at least?
Well, I think the use of the goo so far, I mean, since we've already brought it up,
Yeah.
was not really offensive, and it didn't really mess with anything. It just kind of took like, oh, we know this goo's not good.
Yeah.
Like we understand that it's going to cause problems, right? So I think that's a good reference out of the gate,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. And then I guess the whole thing is about them picking up, I guess, the alien that got ejected from the first movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
So
But it also made that crazy cocoon, which is like that was kind of
yeah,
cool.
that's cool. And now I guess my question is, how did they, from that full warrior alien, generate facehuggers? Because that's the only source.
Well,
of
they were
alien.
3D printing it, right? So they were.
There were
Right.
three.
They were
I think it's a combination of stuff they learned from Prometheus and stuff they learned
Okay.
in Alien, right?
Oh, that's fair. Yes, that's right. Yeah, in the timeline, Prometheus is even
so
earlier.
this movie
Yes,
is
yes,
literally
yes.
bridging the two things
Okay. Okay.
in that
Cool,
regard.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I that wasn't bothering me, but I thought it was kind of cool that like the full alien, adult alien, was like the one from Ripley's ship, right? I thought that was kind of fun.
I also really did like that they were just straight up 3D printing.
Yeah.
Cocoon,
Yeah,
like the
organics.
cocoon with the thing in it. I was like, I guess if they can make people, they could probably make face huggers.
They still have monochrome monitors from 1982, but they can 3D print.
Listen, they didn't bother with LCDs. They focused on other things.
My
I'd like to know we're
P1L
still producing. We're still producing
Yeah.
monochrome
CRTs.
LCDs today.
My P1S has a
I need one.
monochrome
Yeah, exactly.
LCD screen on it. I have
Well,
no
you guys are
problem
way
with it.
cooler than me, and I need a green monochrome monitor.
Actually, your 3D printer that you haven't opened has a monochrome screen on it.
It does,
right
yeah.
now.
It does. Open it, Steve. Open it. The one I didn't mind was the alien sequence, the Hicks, the gun one, where
Yeah, it was
they're
fine.
like, here's a gun, and look, it
will aim
has
for
aim
you.
assist,
Yeah, they
which I think
explain it.
I like
that's
those.
fine.
That was cute.
Yeah.
I mean, it was necessary, but it was also cool. Like it's one of those ones. There's like, okay, we probably do need to explain how a total civilian can like smoke like 10 aliens later in the movie, but it was neat, and yeah, you like to see the guns from the earlier movies. I mean, they're iconic, right? So yeah, absolutely.
It didn't feel forced either.
No.
It felt like a natural part of the story. None of it was like, oh, they put this in there just for that. And it was like, no, this is definitely necessary.
Yeah. Why
And
would
it
this
also
person need
led
to know?
to
Yeah. Sorry.
it
Yeah.
led to a whirlwind of alien blood in
Yep.
0G, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is something they also like established was going to be a problem, and then they created this unique sequence, which
It
that's
literally
one of
said-
the. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the synth, was it David? I can't remember his name.
Andy.
Andy said, "This is the bottom of the state. This is the bottom floor of the station. If you kill something and the gravity's still on, vacuum."
Yeah.
They were pretty clear about it. That was part of the whole thing of adding tension. That movie, they just kept building more and more tension.
Yeah.
That was believable. It wasn't just like David said, it wasn't forced.
Yeah. It took things that we already know from the franchise and then used them, in fun ways that weren't too obvious and too like, in your face.
Yeah.
But they're all things that we all understood going in. So.
That felt like when they were in Aliens, when they were in the reactor, and Ripley's like, "You can't fire here. You'll cause a nuclear reaction." It felt the same way. Like it felt very natural. I like that.
That's one more reference from Aliens too. Yeah, we should probably make a checklist for this too.
I will get very nerdy for a second and also vindicate what I said after the movie, which is the pulse rifle in Aliens is the M41A pulse rifle. And this one is different because it's the F44AA, AA standing for auto. So the it is a different, it might be a civilian because it's Weyland-Yutani, but it's an F44. I also think they do look different.
They do look different. I agree.
I think the
similar, though.
F44. They're still assault rifles. Like, but oh yeah, they look really different. I'm looking at pictures of them right now.
Yeah, but it's definitely a
But
reference,
close enough,
right?
yeah.
Like you
you
see it and you're like,
100%.
oh yeah, that's like
This one
it's
looks
in the
way
universe,
cooler,
right?
Actually, this looks way cooler.
Yeah.
Can I mention something about the goo that actually bothered me that like it wouldn't bother, I don't think, most people?
For sure.
So the goo, they had this gratuitous extra scene where it's like, oh, we gave it to a mouse and it made the mouse super healthy. Then the mouse died. It's like, you were experimenting like from across the station after all this was happening, why would you keep experimenting when you know you have to get this goo off the station?
Because
Just
he's
didn't make
doing
any
what's
sense to
best
me.
for the company.
But he could have, with that goo, just killed everyone else in the room that he was trying to save so they could get the goo out. It just didn't make any sense. It was like that felt forced. The goo being injected to the mouse suddenly healing, and then the mouse going, "Oh, my head's going to explode." You know, like that didn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I think that unfortunately, yes, I'm coming at it from the perspective of like, okay, what do they got to do in this movie? How are they going to do it, right? I mean, that was a way to like firmly enforce that. Okay, I mean, maybe it's the same goo, maybe it's a Wayland Yutani version, but this is what it actually does. Like, you need to provide an example to give us the like, oh shit, she just injected it into her own neck, right? Like, we needed to know that there was a threat there, right? So yes, that is probably, like you say, like maybe a slight problem, like in terms of the continuity, but I understand why they did it for the purposes of this movie. They needed to make sure that you knew that baby was going to be a problem.
I don't know. I didn't really think about that one. That didn't bother me.
Yeah, it didn't bother me too
I didn't
much.
think about
I
it
think
too,
about the
too
details
much,
too much.
There-
That's-
there-
that's
No,
why,
no,
like,
no. I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. No, no.
No, we're all nitpicky about different things, right?
Yeah,
And there,
yeah.
but there is one thing that we all agreed was the worst callback, and that was get off of her or get away from her, you bitch. Get off of her. My bad.
He
Get away
screwed
from
it
her. I screwed it up.
He could have said the coolest thing.
Yeah. So
Actually, you know what? It would have been better. Actually, I think it would have been great if Andy said, like, "Get off of her" instead. Like that would have been like if he screwed
close,
up the
but not
line.
quite. Yeah.
yeah, close, but
know?
not
Would've been
that.
better.
Yeah.
I mean, the alien was holding on to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, was it weird that it caught her? Like, did it catch her so it could kill
Yeah.
her? Did it catch her
So-
so it could do
okay.
something else? Like,
Well, hold on.
'Cause
The
there was a face
aliens
hugger
have
nearby,
shown
right?
that they were able to grab people and hold on to them and use them for breeding, essentially.
Yeah,
yeah, because
they
there
were
was a
gonna bring her
face hugger.
down,
Yeah, okay.
So
I guess that
and-
was the reason. It did throw me off, but yes, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because we saw
But
the face hugger after it did that. Is the thing. If they would have shown the face hugger nearby, I think we would have gone. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But we would have known it would have caught her then, right?
Yeah. I assumed it was gonna catch her and then cocoon her down below with everyone else.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And keep in mind that it had cocooned another character at that point already, and that one was not impregnated with an alien because it was dying.
One had also just stabbed somebody through the fucking heart too, though, right? Like,
No, not
'Cause-
that one. The other woman. The
The
woman who was
sister.
pregnant.
no, but in the scene previous, it stabbed the other dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
Oh.
but he was still a threat, and they actually referenced that too.
Yeah.
Where the synth said like, "Yeah, don't shoot the gun." And she's like, "Well, what do I have it for?" And it's like, "Well, it might think you're a threat and stay away from you."
Yeah.
So he was a threat. He was actively trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, it was real bad. I
Yeah.
was real annoyed in that scene. It's so for the audience. Hopefully you've watched the movie. if you're coming this far. But he goes, so Andy saves her and he goes, "Get away from her." And I thought, nice. And then there's
Yep.
a beat and he goes,
There's a
"You
pause.
bitch."
It
And
was
he,
like 8
and
seconds
it's
or something.
okay.
and it felt like forever.
it felt
To
like
be
forever.
fair, at this point in the movie, he's reverted back to his original, slightly,
Yeah, but he
Like,
didn't like stutter or something. He
He
just
did
was
stutter.
like,
yeah.
No, he went, "Get
did-
away
he
from
stuttered
her."
The line though,
"You
and then
bitch."
he said "you," and then there was like one beat, and then
Ugh.
"bitch." Yeah, so it was more like in line with his old
It just-
personality, and that was what they were going.
Like it's like they were like, "We're gonna say get away from her." The
Say
audience
the
is gonna
line.
go
Say the
crazy.
line, Andy.
Say the line, Bart. Do the Bart man.
Yeah, it's funny, we all like caught this line. I'm not as offended by it as you guys, but
Very
the fact
offended.
that we are all talking about it means it did stand out a little too much.
Well,
So
that
that's
was
not good.
the audience. Like there were like audible groans and laughs
Yeah.
at that point.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it both hit and didn't at the same time.
It just whatever they thought was the right call was obviously not the right call because nobody seems to be enjoying it. There's nobody who's like, yeah. It's
get-
all at best it's meh. That's not good.
Yeah, I understand why they did it though, because he is supposed to be back in his original like I need to protect Rain personality, and that was meant to be like his like, I'm a really gentle soul, but like in this case, I'm going to say this like swear word. I don't know. I'm not going to defend it that much because I also agree it wasn't super effective. I think they could have done it better. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
And when we started the podcast, I mentioned like the gratuitous scene. That was it.
Yeah.
Like the first half of that was perfect. Like he's just like, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
After the
That
movie, I
scene's
mentioned
perfect.
like, guys, this was great. And you're like, but he said that. I'm like, oh, like my heart sank when
Yeah.
he
It
said
actually
that. 'cause,
was
like,
a
you're
really
right.
good sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because my eyes were glued to the movie the whole time, and that was the first time I went. And I looked at you guys, and we were all like,
Face palms.
So-
yeah, it's true. No, it's true. It's a good point.
so it
It's a
pulled
good
me
point.
out. Like Steve
Yep.
was saying about Rogue One when you see Dr. whatever the fuck his name is.
Vanison.
Or-
Vanison, yeah. And they both look back, they're like, remember us? We're in episode 4. That was this point, and you're just like, oh fuck, come on, man.
Yeah, but same with R2D2 C3PO. They just kept doing that again and again. It
I
didn't
like
feel
them.
Right.
I like them showing up. They're supposed to be like the eventual narrators of Star Wars, which they sort of fucked up with the sequels. But whatever. Now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well,
Goddamn right.
we're talking about Andy and his
Andy,
like,
yeah.
world,
yeah.
taking us out of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It does take us out of the movie. I mean, but I will also defend the film in that, like, yes, all things being considered, with how many things they reference and how many things they like pulled. Okay, so let's actually go down this list, right? Like just off the top of our heads, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, Get Away From Her, You Bitch is from a future movie in the timeline, which doesn't make sense. But
Also,
that's fine,
soldier
whatever.
aliens aren't female, right? Only the queen is.
Andy
anyway.
doesn't necessarily. He might know that, but
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Oh yeah,
He
you
might have
know,
known it
yeah, you're
before.
right.
Also, pulled
also
that out of his
you
head.
can call things bitches that aren't female.
That's true. That's fair.
Ah,
It felt
okay.
more earned in
Marcellus
when-
Wallace.
Yeah. Fair.
I was thinking Jesse Pinkman. Like, he calls everything bitch.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, sure.
All right.
It
all right,
just
so the
there's
goo,
so many things that okay. So go ahead, Steve.
Sorry. Well, okay. The goo is from Prometheus.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
We had engineer looking weird mutant baby.
Mhm.
So that also is from Prometheus.
And
there's a mutant
Resurrection.
baby.
Mhm.
Oh yes. Actually, yeah.
It's a hybrid.
I associated that thing more with Resurrection than with Prometheus.
Oh,
Although
plus the
fact that
birthing
we
scene
knew
is also
from
from
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
So the birthing is from Prometheus, but the weird half hybrid thing I associated with Resurrection.
For sure.
Cocoon shit. Because we didn't really see much
Aliens.
Cocoon stuff. It's from the original Alien, actually. There was cut scenes from Alien, and then later in a direct sequel, you see like more like cocoons on the wall, right? That's something which I thought of when I saw this movie. It's not really important, but we don't really see the warriors like coming out of shit like in other movies. And to me, this was more of a reference to cutscenes from the first film.
Yeah.
Well, were these all drones or warriors?
Oh, sorry, I drone. Sorry, I guess I'm not using the correct term.
Yeah.
Well, because
I guess
they didn't
warriors
have a
are bigger,
queen, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why? And why? That's the what. I guess I'm just thinking of that now. Why didn't they have a queen? There were
That
tons
first
of
one
aliens
turned
in this
into a
movie.
queen?
So why
First
wouldn't one
one.
of them? The first one?
Did the very first one that was born from the pilot's chest, did that one become a queen very quickly? Like, I mean, everything was compressed timeline wise. With hey, look, an alien's born as soon as the chest.
Oh,
burst
sorry,
pops
you
out,
said pilot. And I'm thinking of the pilot in Alien, not this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
this movie, the pilot, that one I think would have become the queen because it was
Like,
the
is there a
start of new
special
colony.
chest burster for?
Yeah, they
queens?
never really explained how Ripley
I always
was.
thought it was kind of like an ant colony type situation.
Yeah, like
and I
ant
figured
colonies.
one
If the
eventually
queen dies,
spawns.
another
They need the
female
royal jelly.
becomes the queen.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Another-
sorry for
another
using the
ant becomes queen.
wrong technical.
No. I don't.
term.
I
I'm
don't know
interested
if they're
in that,
drones or
yeah.
warriors. Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they are drones because warriors would probably be bigger.
Yeah. So I get right away. I mean, we've got like I feel like just the thing that was in the original film, and then
Yeah.
in the second film, no queens.
Yeah.
Okay, what else was referenced in other?
So let's see,
AVP
Alien.
stuff?
What else from Alien 1? Single alien. No,
Yeah.
Fucking
the
Ash.
alien
Yeah, I
from
know
the
more.
beginning.
Ash. Yeah, Ash is actually in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, no, for
Um,
better or ill.
I guess Broken
Um,
Ash is sort of a reference to Alien 3.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
What else from Alien 2? The Marine thing. That the boyfriend didn't he have military training with the Marines or something like that?
No, he said he learned it from
Oh, he
video
was
games. And
Yeah, he was a fan of video
Oh,
games. That's
okay.
why he knew all the guns.
That's why I had aim assist.
Well, it's what the Marines use,
Oh.
bro.
What
Him
else?
being torn in half is from the second Aliens movie.
Yeah. Getting
whole
stabbed through the
field-
chest is from every single Alien, so that's sort of
Sure. Fair enough.
hard. I don't
let
think
me
there's anything else from Alien 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm like having a lot of trouble from. Is I cannot think of anything that's
Just the
specifically
broken
in it.
android, right? Like Bishop,
Yeah.
right? That's sort of what.
Yeah,
And
I
he
mean, I
wasn't
still
the
see
only
that more
broken
with
android.
food.
There were other ones in the
Yeah,
film
true,
too.
true.
Yeah.
But sort
I
of
mean,
them
was heat
fixing
an
him
issue?
and
Was heat and water an issue in the third movie? Because that was
no,
very
water was
prominent.
resurrection.
Okay.
Um,
Yes, you're right. You're right.
that water sequence was very famously put in the trailer.
Oh, real quick aside, that turning up the temperature in the room, I liked that they theorized and then they acted on their theory and it sort of worked.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yep.
I hated that was Fahrenheit because they talk about meters and metric in all of the other ones.
I wonder if that can't be the only way the facehugger detects things though, right? Because I
No,
was
they
thinking
It was
specifically said
sound
it was
and sound and heat.
and it did detect them with sound. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So that means in vacuum they should not be able to detect you.
In vacuum, the facehuggers probably can't survive. I think only the drones or the like the queens and stuff like that could survive.
Maybe.
Which, if you think about it now, Alien versus Predator, the end, she gets speared through the chest, the queen, and then she gets dragged underwater to freeze. But if they can survive in the vacuum of space in some cocoon, they
Fuck.
can probably survive at the bottom of an ocean.
Alien versus Predator 3.
No.
You heard it.
We'll
Coming to a
talk.
theater near
We are
you.
talking about Alien Earth soon. Yeah.
That's it. There's your entry point right there.
I. Oh my god. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Damn it.
I want to talk about it. There's something I want to mention.
I don't want to.
Anything else? Like we got most of the references. I feel like.
Yeah, I think so.
This
Mother's back.
Mother.
Right from Alien 1.
Alien-
Oh, really? There was a reference to Mother?
That's
Yeah, they talked about Mother a bunch in
That's
this
how
movie.
Andy got in there because he could control Mother.
It's the same
The system was also called Mother? Okay, I
Yep.
missed that, actually.
MU/TH/ER.
You know what I
okay.
forgot?
Cool.
Watching Alien Resurrection, they changed it to Father. And it
But
was-
Alien Resurrection is like 200 years into the future.
yeah, in the
so
future,
it doesn't
and it's
matter.
also terrible.
In the year 2000.
Just fucking terrible.
But it has Hank Azaria and Ron Perlman in it.
Hank Azaria's in it.
Okay, sorry, not Hank Azaria. Shit, no, not Hank.
The dude from The Crow's in it, which I like. The bad guy.
Whatever. It's
It's
got
Talking about
Winona
Michael
Ryder.
Wincott. It's also got Brad Dourif.
Yeah, Brad Dorff is in it, and
Yeah, Brad Dourif was
Winona
awesome.
Ryder, who I
And
totally forgot
Leland
was in that
Orser. 3 of the best like character actors, right? Brad Dourif, Michael Wincott, and Leland Orser. Like,
Yeah, Ron Perlman.
What
I
a-
think that was the first movie I ever saw him in. Like that was the
Mm.
first movie I remember seeing him, and then I saw him in Hellboy. It's like, oh, he's very good. Not based
I
on.
was slightly disappointed that we had so many reference to older movies, but we didn't have some guy yelling in a Russian accent while smacking the crap out of an engine with a big wrench or something.
Wait, which one were we referencing?
is that Armageddon? What are you talking about?
I think it
That sounds so
was
familiar.
Alien. It was the Joss Whedon one.
Oh, Resurrection.
Alien 4?
Yeah.
Oh.
What a
He's
terrible
like, this is
movie.
how we fix things in Russia, and he's just beating the crap out of the engine.
Yeah.
I forgot
Oh my
that.
god, what a bad movie. So this movie is garnering an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. Okay.
So
all
it is
right,
the
well,
third best rated Alien movie
which is
behind-
exactly where I
Yeah.
think it fits.
because it was 94% for Alien, 95% for Aliens, and then 82 for Alien.
I
Romulus.
think if you just
I think
fix
that's
like
fair.
these 3 things about the movie, you jump up to like a 90.
yeah,
Right.
100%.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's a
yeah.
good movie.
All in all, fun movie. I'm gonna ask some final thoughts. Do you think this movie needs a sequel? Do you think they're gonna continue a movie?
Does it
from
need a
this one?
sequel? No. Should,
Well, then-
should
Will
we
they make
get-
a sequel?
if it makes enough money, will they make one? Probably.
I mean, it's doing gangbusters right now. In theaters.
Listen, if this movie is to Alien, right? Then if the sequel to this movie can be the Aliens to this, I think we're gonna have a good time.
I'll see it.
I don't know who's gonna direct it. Maybe like the guy who did like Tim Miller or someone like that. Maybe one of the big action directors right now, Chad Stahelski, like one of these guys.
Oh my god,
Doing an
Chad
Alien movie?
Stahelski would be amazing.
Or who's the other one? Who did the fall guy? That's not Chad
Oh.
Stahelski.
No, that
David Leitch.
Yeah,
Right, those are the 3 like John
Yeah, the
Wick
action guys,
and Deadpool and stuff like that. You get one of those 3, I think you got.
Yeah.
You know.
I would agree with that.
That's actually, I get that analogy now. Yeah, horror to action. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
would be, if they do an action sequel to this, that would be fun.
Would you want to see Rain again, or do you want to see a whole new crew?
I mean,
If she's doing the Ripley role of like just fucking nuke it, man, just nuke it, I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah, I
Movie
agree with that.
ended pretty cleanly. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
it ended with her going away with no evidence of aliens on her ship. So we're saying,
except
what?
I posit
Yes.
that the woman who was getting her blood sucked by her own baby thing, the black goo was still on her. Though she had no blood left, I am fairly certain the black goo should mutate her into something.
Yeah,
Okay.
assuming
And there was
they
no
weren't-
resolution for her body
Yeah, they-
in this
they
film.
didn't
Well,
sh-
hold
they
on.
didn't show
They
the
did
ejector.
blow out the cargo bay, and that would have likely sucked her out.
But we
really
did
know.
not
Wasn't
see
in
her
the
go
cargo
out.
bay.
We did not see a body.
Fair,
No,
fair,
We
fair.
did not see a body, so that is yes.
Yeah.
And I
But
think
I mean,
that
that
was
would-
on purpose.
I mean,
You'd have to
Alien
really
1
try hard to create a direct sequel to this. I think it would be cleaner to just say do another movie in the same universe with new characters, new whatever, or have
Yeah.
the ship crash lands on the planet in 9
not
years.
again.
I mean,
No.
Alien 1 ended very cleanly as well. Like, there is
Yeah.
no alien on board. She just ends up getting rescued and then taken into another bad situation, right?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do because obviously this movie did well. So now they're going to be interested in like extending and continuing on with this. I would say I don't know because okay, so the first option is to do what they did with the original Alien and Aliens, right? You
Mhm.
continue the same character. She's already established. You continue her arc, right? I mean, I would argue that this character Rain has already kind of had the full arc of the second, Aliens type situation, right?
Sure.
So she doesn't really need to go beyond. But then are we going to have her crash like in Alien 3? Like that's extremely unsatisfying, right? We don't want that, right?
I'll give you two possible options. Clearly, Weyland-Yutani, like they were gonna just infect the colony. It was a Weyland-Yutani colonies. They were just gonna infect it to see what would happen, right? Also, it seemed like Rook was also fine with them infecting the other colony that they wanted to go to because that's a non-Weyland-Yutani colony. So I think that might be a thing in the background where like, oh, well, fine, we'll infect that colony. So we actually start with like a nice place and then it's going to get bad instead. So in the way that Aliens, it was a colony and then it went bad, I think we could actually see the fall of the colony.
I mean, I would love that.
That would be really cool.
Kinda the Walter thing at the end of Alien Covenant, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's all by himself, and there's like hundreds or thousands of frozen bodies to play with now.
And Rain could be like Newt instead of like Ripley. She could
The
be
Newt
hiding
that we
out
can
on the
get.
planet, and then the Colonial Marines show up.
I think that would be I think that was going to
I
be
like
the
that.
other option that I didn't like. The fact that they introduced, I can't remember her name now. Sorry, the one from Prometheus, and then she's just like a corpse on a table.
Oh,
and
Elizabeth Shaw.
I didn't, and I didn't like that,
didn't like
because
that
they
either.
had these extra scenes that were like in various media that you could watch, but I was like, that's bullshit, right? Like, you need to
Wait,
have
what?
a little
What?
bit better resolution.
I don't remember
There are
that.
there are some scenes here and there that explain it a tiny little bit further, but it's still like, what the hell happened? Like, we really don't know, right? It's still a little bit like, did he kill her or did she just die and then he just used her for experiments? Like, it's horrible, right? And I hated that, right? Like, you go to all this trouble to introduce this character, so I don't want to see that happen again either, right?
Mhm.
So like, basically, all the options kind of suck except for maybe like what was just suggested now, where like they started in a whole new extra movie and then we have Rain like show up in halfway through, with Andy, right? I mean, that actually would be kind of cool, respect the audience who are fans, So I have no
I'd
idea.
love to see more
honestly.
Andy.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I was
yeah.
going to say. I want to see more Andy out of
Character in the whole
everyone.
movie for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Heads and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, an actual like good synthetic. for
It's
once.
because he's British.
He's a good actor. He
Well,
played
there was
two
an evil
characters
British man.
very well.
Yeah. When he straightened up and became the proper android, I was like, oh, damn, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, no, he's done a
Um,
really good job.
Quick callback to Alien Queens. According to the wiki, it's not like it's still heavily debated. They don't know if like there's a bunch of different things that are suggested in different films. So love that we don't know.
Yeah.
So we don't know why there's no queen. There could have been a queen on that station for
Sure.
all we know. But we never saw one, which is
Yeah.
fine.
I'm glad we didn't see one, to be honest. I didn't want one.
Yeah, we don't. That would have really been rehashing Alien 2, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And 3
Yeah.
actually, because she ended up impregnated him.
Mm.
So
I always see it like the ant colony where like the last one just becomes the queen and starts pumping out
I like
more,
that.
yeah, the only one.
I like that too.
But that makes the queen makes face huggers. The queen doesn't necessarily lay the other ones. Who knows? Like who knows?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this is a weird situation. I mean, they were somehow spontaneously generating space huggers out of
And-
nothing. Right?
And remember, the alien queen was attached to that egg sac too, right? Like she could detach herself. So I wonder if like,
but once
That's
she
just something-
detaches, she can't go back. Then she's a warrior queen.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay,
I
final
read
thought,
wikis good.
final thoughts on this movie before we go into the series. I'm gonna go first. I really like this movie. It's fully an 8 out of 10 for me. Even though I don't like rating movies. This is a movie I want to show my wife, and that's not a thing that I say often because she's very particular. She doesn't like a lot of things I like, but I think that she hasn't seen any of the Alien movies before, so I want to know what
I want that.
I want to know what she thinks, and this isn't scary enough that she wouldn't want to watch it. Like there's a certain this is very digestible for regular people, and I think that's sort of good. Highly suggested. Steve,
I want to do the same. I
or
want to do
Dave.
the same thing with my girlfriend because I texted her. I was like, "You want to see this movie?" And she was like, "Yeah, I like those movies." But she's not like a nerd like us. She's not like into the lore, so she might not get all the callbacks. And I don't know. I want to know what like someone who's not, a fan.
Yeah, especially that
in
line.
the nerdy sense.
That line.
Yeah.
I want to know if it hits differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting for somebody who's new to the series to watch this one first, because I think I don't know, it pulls from so many other sources, but yet I think it does establish the threats properly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, I was going to go in this whole thing before, and I totally forgot, and timing is a bit off.
Do it now.
Well, okay. I was going to go this whole thing on this old chairman who worked for Fox, Tom Rothman, because my whole bit was going to be like, remember how in the 90s and in the 2000s, how like every science fiction movie you saw was like not quite as good as you thought it was, And I mean, it's because of this guy, right? I mean, his role was to make Fox profitable, and I will fully admit that he succeeded in that role. He knew to cut budgets back, and there's a lot of good movies that came out of that era. But I will also point out what is common between X-Men: The Last Stand, Wolverine Origins, Dragon Ball, Wing Commander,
God, I forgot about Dragon Ball. God.
Aliens versus Predator, Mobius, and Madam Web. Well, if you said that all those movies fucking suck, it's because they're all by this guy. Okay, let's be clear. Tom Rothman. He moved over to Sony after Amy Pascal, and so he's responsible for Mobius and Madam Web. Let's not beat around the bush, okay? He also personally hated Deadpool. He personally blocked Deadpool until Ryan Reynolds slipped that trailer into Comic-Con, okay?
Yeah.
He's
For the fans, he means Morbius.
Sorry, Morbius. Yes, Mobius. No, Mobius, totally different. Very good.
Yeah.
Morbius, Morbin time, not so good.
Mobin time, baby.
Apparently, the legends say that, I mean, it's a fact that he personally blocked Deadpool, but the rumors are that he came up with the mouthless Deadpool in Wolverine Origins. This guy, he just hates having fun. And if you ever wondered why Aliens versus Predator wasn't set in space in the future against colonial marines, this fucking guy, okay? So anyway, my comment that I was going to make way back at the beginning of the episode is like, yeah, if you actually enjoy Aliens movies, then yeah, this one's good because Tom Rothman's not involved. And yeah, every single thing after the third and fourth movie are his fault, So
also, I think he's the one who ruined Titan AE because that movie wasn't done.
No, he ruined. No, this is what I'm saying. Every single sci-fi movie from Fox that you watch in the 90s and the 2010s that you were like, oh, that could have been awesome if.
Yeah.
Well, the if is because of him. Okay.
Well, a lot of those movies weren't done, and they went, "Hey, we need like $1 million," and he went, "Nope, you're cut off."
Yeah, and that's it. He was really good. I mean, so much so that after he left Fox, now he runs Sony, right? So I hate that, but
everybody loves the current slate of Sony films.
Oh, I can't wait for Craven.
Remember Uncharted? Remember how good that was?
Uncharted was very mid, but it wasn't the worst thing I'd ever seen.
All right, so getting us back on track. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that guy. I don't like what he did to. I mean, he was all about cutting budgets and low marketing, and yeah, AVP sucks because of him. But this movie, it's got nothing to do with him. Yeah, like I walked in, I wanted a really cool horror movie. I didn't totally get that, but I as we've been discussing it tonight, I think it's a decent. It's the best of all the Aliens movies that after 1 and 2. And that is an accomplishment. And yeah, I'm interested in rewatching it because I thought it was visually interesting, and nothing in it like really bothered me. And yeah, I think he accomplished like a very competent, tight movie because I was interested from beginning to end. Like there wasn't anything that totally destroyed the movie for me. So and that these days is admirable. So
for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where I'm at.
Why a young Nathan Drake? Anyway, Harcroft, what did you think?
Fuck.
I kind of had the same feel as when I watched, Greyhound, like the Tom Hanks World War II
Submarine movie.
submarine
watched it.
versus destroyers movie,
Interesting. I haven't
and it
seen
was
that.
just basically building up tension constantly and never letting it go until the very end. Kind of like you were always on the edge of your
Like
seat.
Dunkirk.
Like what? Yeah, exactly. Like
Or
what's going to
The
happen
Thing.
next? Well, Dunkirk had a lot of ups and downs. Like they switched between different stories multiple times, and
Mhm.
it kind of got a little slow because of that. But uh, this movie, it very much felt like it was just building up constantly, and it wasn't just scary tension. It was just also just interesting tension. They did a great job of just building you up, and like despite my nitpicks, because I had quite a few little ones, I did feel like it overall kind of was true to the universe and
Mhm.
um, respected the source material, and very much felt like it was just a good horror movie or a good. I don't know if you want to call it a horror or a thriller. Just kind of in between there somewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite. It was one or two jump scares.
Yeah.
Which I agree. Like, why bother with a jump scare this late in the movie when you've done such a great job? Just
Well, I mean,
making
if you're
me
not expecting
worried.
it because they haven't done it the whole movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's fair. Yeah. They did a good job of making me worried about what would happen. Who's going to die next? Because
Yep.
people are going to die, but like,
Yeah.
who and how?
The order. We want to know the order and how.
The order and
Yeah.
the method of which they are dispatched.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because that's exactly what you want, right? You want to actually care
Yeah.
who and how, and that
You want to be
that me-
invested, right? You want to be
Yes.
immersed in it.
Mhm. For
So I
sure.
felt like it was like probably a 9 or so for like an action horror, somewhere in straddling that, thriller, somewhere in that genre, and it's like a 7.5 to 8 for an alien movie. Like it really was a nice, clean,
Yep.
direct sequel to it.
Yeah.
Kind of like how they redid The Thing, and the other one didn't hold
Mm.
up, but it was that nice, clean sequel that I liked. Was it a pre? In that case, it was a prequel, but
Yeah.
the same idea where it was very
I
clean.
like
Well,
it.
The Thing
but
had some
didn't
real
reference too much.
production issues where
Yeah,
they did it all
obviously.
practical. They did it
Yeah,
all
that was-
practical, and then they said, "Fuck it,
Yeah.
we're gonna do CGI."
Yeah,
And
because
that-
like
Mhm.
studio interference, right?
Yeah.
that
I still-
practical alien looked
It
amazing.
did. I still like that movie. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazing practical effects, some crappy CGI, some great CGI. And actually, this is an important point about the CGI. Most movies, they like run on a budget at the end of the movie and go, "Oh well, we're just gonna dump this out," or nothing else for the end. This movie felt like the opposite, where they were like the later you got in the movie, the better the CGI, better
Yeah.
the effects got, and it's like it's like they did the CGI backwards. In the beginning, it's like, oh, this isn't, and not to say the beginning had bad CGI, but like the Rook stuff early on was just like we said, terrible. It looked
I think they
awful.
did the Rook stuff last, to be honest. But
I know. No, I feel like they just tried. They kept on trying and they just didn't get it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
he looked good on the monitors, but in
Yeah.
person,
I mean, even when we look at Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, he didn't look
Mm.
that great.
No.
Mm.
No. So,
Well, I look forward to fan edits fixing Ian Holm. So
I look forward to
Yeah.
seeing if this is a movie that I feel like I want to buy on disc, and that's not a thing I say
Dude,
often,
I'm literally looking at a YouTube video I'm gonna watch, and it says, "Can't wait to buy the DVD."
right? Because I want to see the behind the scenes on this movie. Like that's
Not
how
the
much I want to
Blu-ray, the DVD.
see the DVD.
Can't wait to buy this on the Google Play Store.
Oh yeah!
I'll
All
have
right.
to remember that for our closing thoughts. There's a DVD
I-
thing I have to mention later.
Oh, for
But
sure.
Basically, excellent movie. Minor gripes all around. Really
Yeah.
enjoyable. And I did feel like a little bit of the Ian Holm stuff was supposed to be a little crappy looking to show that like it's clearly a crappy,
Hmm.
dying, destroyed synth.
I
But
could see that.
it still at the same time was just not done that well.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 quick things.
Yo.
This movie is a true science fiction movie.
Yep.
I think because it deals a lot with morality and ethics, and it does that very well. And that is one of the reasons you should want to see an alien movie. And 2, the guy who's dueling Alien Earth is the guy who did Fargo and Legion. So shut the fuck up. It's probably going to be awesome.
Yes, I did not know that. But the cast sounds amazing. So we're gonna end this by talking about Alien Earth. Alien Earth is a prequel series set
Okay.
through 3 decades before Alien 1. So
but
this is-
after Covenant. Sorry, I didn't mean to-
yes, I don't know the timeline between
Okay,
Covenant
after
and-
Prometheus, then.
somewhere in there, right?
Okay, all right.
And this is
Go ahead.
purely going to be set on Earth. So
This is a series running on what, on Disney
this
Plus?
is gonna be on
FX.
FX. The only
And
Oh, that's
Hulu, I guess.
the only cast member I can remember is Timothy Oliphant, who I
Yep.
really like as an actor.
Oh no, I don't like him that much. But
You don't
okay.
like him?
He's terrible in Hitman. Anyway.
That was one movie. He's been good in so many other things.
That's all I think of when I think of that guy. He looks like a nice guy. It's fine.
Have you
Through the
not
timeline.
heard of Justified? Like,
Justified.
Okay.
I'm not crazy, right? He's the guy in Justified.
Yeah,
right?
he is. He's the main character in Justified. He was also, like the best part of what Book of Boba Fett was. No, wait.
It was good in Boba Fett, yeah.
Yeah, he was that.
He's in the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
What's the other show? Was the one
He
with
was
the
a
town?
hitman.
Why can't I think of the one with the town?
Not Jericho. He wasn't in Jericho.
He's on Fargo,
Not in
actually.
Jericho.
He was in Fargo. Okay, well that's
he's
good. He's
Deadwood.
worked with the
Deadwood.
director.
He's the sheriff in Deadwood.
He's just the sheriff in general, I guess.
He's always
Yeah,
a
he's
sheriff.
Just who
Well,
he
as,
is.
as he's aged, yeah, he fits that role more, I guess.
Anyway,
I put
that's
the
cool.
timeline in
Alright.
your Discord, and it looks like Alien is 2122, then Romulus is 20 years after.
Right.
But
Okay.
2122 from Alien going back to Alien Earth is like 30 years before.
Okay,
yes,
fair enough.
very confusing.
First half of 2025.
So it's about 70 years from our current right now. So
Great.
20,
So I might still make it.
2090-ish,
I might still make it.
which is crazy to think. What do you think about this?
Can't wait.
Take place on Earth. What do
what's the
you
plot?
hope for?
Or is there? Oh, okay. There's no actual details on it.
It's just set on Earth?
It just finished, wrapped July because it was originally filmed in 2022, but it was pushed because of COVID. So it ended up starting filming in Thailand last July. Blah 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 blah. Because then the strike happened, and then there was a British actors filming because they didn't have a strike.
Yep.
So a whole bunch of shit happened. Hopefully that makes it better. I think it worked for Deadpool and Wolverine. Probably made the film better than it would have been.
Yep.
But yeah, there's like no information about there's like it says like who they are, but it doesn't. We don't know what the show's about.
Yeah, they're not gonna. They're not gonna
Earth.
tell us. Yeah, it's on Earth. It's
Yeah,
purely
there's
on Earth.
a CEO. We don't know of what company, right? So
Okay, I got no.
I want
clue,
to say, hey, it can't be worse than Halo, but I got to reserve judgment, right?
honestly,
okay.
with the track record
oof.
Noah Hawley has, like
Yeah.
I doubt it because he also did The Alibi and The Unusuals. Like these are solid shows from the early 2000s, or the aughts.
I don't know. I mean, I like Romulus, and but I'm not gonna let that be the thing that changes my whole opinion on this sort of thing. I especially since this TV show seems like it's something that started way before Romulus, almost, right?
Yeah.
So I have no clue, right? Like I don't know what it's about. I don't quite understand how they could have an aliens movie unless it is.
Well,
supporting that
Harcroft was saying
whole-
about the Queen, right? And that happened
what,
in
from
2003.
Aliens versus Predator.
yeah, making a sequel to Alien versus Predator.
See, I don't want that, right? Like, I get
But
that
maybe
that
it makes
fits
it
continuity.
better.
But it's completely disconnected, though. It wouldn't actually be connected to it in any way.
Doesn't have
That's
to be
fine, but I don't
Yeah.
like the idea of aliens being on Earth that early in the timeline.
I mean,
So
do you want
I-
aliens in it, or do you want it to be about the Weyland Yutani company? Like
look,
it could be.
I
set in
love
the
universe building stuff, and so far, like it's taken, I don't know, 50 years for anybody to like get to Andor, like, so it's a really hard to sell, right? I don't know why people don't just do shit about everyday people, right? Like I don't get why that's so tough, right? So hey, yeah, if they talk about like some just people working at Weyland Yutani and it sucks and they have to pay a mortgage, I'm all for it, right? But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Based on the
Is this like
roles
the
there,
Cap
it sounds
Record
like
show?
it's going to be about synths, and it
All
might
right. That's
might
cool.
be more in line with like Blade Runner type
Westworld?
questions.
Well, hey,
Westworld.
if it makes the connection between Blade Runner and Aliens like more actually real, then I'm all for it, sure. But I don't know why they're calling it Aliens Earth then, right? Like, wait, what is it called?
Alien
It's
Earth.
called but that's sometimes they change titles, and it's
Yeah.
probably just
okay.
attached to that name to build.
Sure. Well, I mean, it won't be as Blade Runner-y as it is Alien in that regard.
Would
right?
you do Alien : Blade Runner or Blade Runner : Alien? What do you?
Blade Alien.
Or is it
Blade
Alien?
Alien?
Alien
Alien
would-
Runner?
I would call it
Yeah.
Tyrell v. Weyland Yutani. There you go.
Okay, I feel like Weyland Yutani has enough popularity that people would
I
know,
know,
that's
it's
associated
true.
with Alien.
Yeah.
Well, then what do you call it next? Umbrella, Wayland Yutani? Like just keep mixing more universes together?
No, Resident Evil sucks.
Oh.
Don't. Yeah, I said it. I said it.
Are you talking about the movie or the games?
All of it. I don't like any of them.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't play
The way you guys are describing this, it sounds like it's gonna be like the Caprica show for like
Maybe.
I
a
like
weird
Caprica.
past attachment to
I hear it's good.
Battlestar Galactica.
Caprica's really cool.
And now,
I
how do we
just
get the
don't
BSG universe into this? 'Cause-
Well, that happens hundreds and
ways.
hundreds of years ago.
Dude, I'd love
Yeah.
to see a
Thousands of-
Cylon take on a fucking warrior. That'd be by your command. And then just
All right. Anyway, any final thoughts on this TV series or the movie before we
you
go?
should probably check them out when they come out.
Yeah, the TV show's supposed to come out next year. So
I think this is a
Alright.
theater movie. Go to the theater.
this is a
It's
definite
definitely
movie
worth. Yeah,
That's
it's definitely
true.
worth getting some popcorn and going and hanging out. Maybe
I
eating
s-
popcorn during the.
I
Quiet
sort of want to see it
scenes,
in D-Box now. Like that.
We had a really
Yeah.
good crowd too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got my chair kicked about 20 times, but
Did you?
I was still in the
no.
movie. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, somebody was.
I didn't get that.
I didn't
either.
get that.
It was actually between us. Yeah, that kept happening.
Oh,
Aw.
I'm glad
Yeah,
I.
but that
didn't get
didn't. The thing is, the movie was so engrossing. It didn't really bother me that much because as soon as I thought, "Oh, this is annoying," I'm gonna say, "Could you please stop?" Something else cool happened on screen that brought me back into the movie.
Fair.
Mm, mm.
Oh man.
Yeah, I have no real opinion on the TV show, just as I really didn't for Romulus before I went to see the movie with you guys. But on Romulus, yeah, I agree. It's it's a movie you should see in theaters. If everything we've said, keeps your interest, if you don't mind all the homages and head nods and type of thing, then yeah, I think it's definitely worth catching on a big screen.
You get an extra half point. Like your rating will go up if you can just ignore the words "you bitch."
Yeah.
Whole movie.
Well, the thing is that now that you know about it, if you stayed this long, I mean,
You should have
I
seen
think
it by
that'll be
now.
fine.
Yeah, you should have seen it. Yeah, for sure. Go back and see it, and then just sort of cover your ears at that point. It'll be fine.
Tune out those 2
It'll
seconds.
be fine. It'll be fine. All right. Anyways, Harcroft, is there anything you want to promote at the end of this?
Not to promote, but just something that's really, really funny.
Yeah, go.
So we all know that Borderlands movie just came out for on a
Yep.
release. Digital release for streaming is slated for like
11
10
days.
days from now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
11
the end of
days?
the month,
Yeah.
literally the
And
end of the month.
here's the absolute kicker: not the in-store purchase. The pre-order for the special edition is already discounted, like the steelbook. It's claptrap. Yeah.
Oh my god. I wish I sort of want to say, guys, don't watch this movie. We should watch it together
We
and
have to.
record ourselves watching
Mm.
it.
Oh, do we react to it?
Yeah,
we
like a
could do that.
react.
Well, that's good because Rift Tracks just got taken down, unfortunately.
What?
That's too bad.
There was a company they used to be. It's a long thing. The company they used to be associated with got too many copyright strikes. They got taken down, and they haven't been associated for like years. So YouTube, when you can have your channel back when you've proven that you're not associated with this other company, basically. So yeah,
All right,
Let's
Rift
do it.
Tracks
Proving negative is
2.0,
difficult.
yeah.
Yes.
geriatrics with K.
With
We
ketamine.
haven't figured out what the K.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
Oh, God.
Yeah, anything else before we go? We'll be back in a couple weeks talking about, I don't know, Borderlands.
Oh no, I guess it will be. Yeah, it will be. It'll be out by then.
We're in the
Damn
bad
it.
times.
Well, Wukong is out now, which apparently is supposed to be good.
Go check
Okay.
out Brent. I think he's streaming it right now.
Is he
Oh.
streaming right now? Yeah. What else is coming
I'll
out?
be streaming soon. I'll probably be streaming some maybe some CK3 because there's an update for that. But also, I'll be streaming Helldivers.
I'm going to start streaming again soon. I might start streaming Star Wars Outlaws.
That comes out
That
soon.
comes out in 11 days, around Borderlands time. And I'd rather be streaming that than watching Borderlands, to be honest. Yeah. All right. We'll be back in a couple weeks talking about something. We're not sure. We'll talk about it then. All right. Thank you, Harcroft. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Steve, for coming and talking about Alien Romulus. If you haven't seen it, go see it now or go see it again. Fuck yeah. All right. For Geeks and Kids, goodbye. Have a good night. Bye.
You
or day.
bitch.
You bitch.
Thanks for having us.
Bitch. Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.